The global situation has recently seen complex developments, particularly in the Middle East and South Asia. A serious incident occurred at a strategic Iranian port, while tensions between India and Pakistan continue to rise, posing a risk of wider conflict. Serious incident at Bandar Abbas Port. Iran Bandar Abbas Port, Iran's most crucial maritime gateway and naval base, suffered a serious incident. It began with a fire in the eastern section of the port, near a military facility. The fire spread rapidly, leading to a massive explosion that caused heavy damage to much of the port's infrastructure. The cause is believed to be linked to a large quantity of suspected solid rocket fuel chemicals, sodium perchlorate, reportedly supplied by China and stored at the port. However, the initial ignition source has not been clearly identified, raising theories of an accident due to storage procedures or the possibility of external intervention. The explosion created a huge mushroom cloud and powerful shock waves. Large fires continued afterward, and there were reports of a secondary explosion. The incident also raised concerns about the release of toxic fumes from the burning chemicals. Furthermore, NASA detected 3 unusual underground heat signatures in the area, increasing worries that a potential underground nuclear facility might have been affected. The incident at Bandar Abbas has resulted in significant economic and military losses for Iran. India-Pakistan. Tensions continue to escalate. Simultaneously, the situation on the India-Pakistan border has become more alarming than ever. Larger-scale armed clashes have broken out along the Line of Control, LOC, in the Kashmir region and adjacent areas. The fighting is no longer limited to sporadic exchanges, but shows signs of spreading, nearing the risk of a full-scale conflict. Both sides have issued strong statements. Pakistan warned of consequences related to the Indus River's water resources, while India declared it would take military action in response to a previous violent event. New Delhi has also formally cancelled the prior ceasefire agreement with Islamabad. The Pakistani military is reportedly mobilizing forces, including artillery, to the border. The healthcare system has also been placed on high alert. The issue of water resources is emerging as a key factor that could push tensions beyond control. India has reportedly restricted the flow of the Indus River into Pakistan through hydroelectric dams. This action severely affects the freshwater supply for a large portion of Pakistan's population and economy, putting immense pressure on Islamabad to consider strong measures to ensure water security. The use of water resources as a pressure tactic is causing controversy regarding international ethics and law, seen as potentially causing severe humanitarian consequences for civilians. The situation between these two nuclear-armed nations is currently very fragile. The risk of a larger conflict is present, demanding restraint and diplomatic efforts from both sides, as well as the international community.
Throughout much of the 21st century, relations between Israel and Gaza have remained tense, marked by numerous kidnappings, nationwide blockades, and over 10,000 rockets crossing the border during relentless attacks. Despite this, the path to peace remains elusive as conflicts continue to simmer and the threat of new attacks looms large. Yet in this seemingly hopeless context, Israel achieved something extraordinary by developing a weapon that previously existed only in science fiction: silent, invisible, and incredibly powerful. Imagine a weapon capable of detecting, tracking, and intercepting targets with near-perfect precision, all within less than 4 seconds. This isn't just a breakthrough in military technology, but the dawn of the world's first laser weapon system. What makes this technology so powerful? Could it truly be the key to transforming modern warfare? Navy Power takes you behind the scenes to uncover the untold secrets of this advanced weapon. On April 13, 2024, Iran launched a large-scale attack involving over 300 drones and missiles targeting Israel. Simultaneously, Hezbollah fired numerous Grad rockets at Israel Defense Forces, IDF positions on the Golan Heights. This was followed by a dense barrage of missiles that met a wall of resistance from Israel's defense systems. By October, Iran had launched another major assault involving ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, drones, and artillery from proxy forces, targeting military and intelligence facilities across Israel. In this attack, Iran fired approximately 200 ballistic missiles at targets in Israel, marking Tehran's largest direct strike on Tel Aviv to date. Iran claimed the attack was an act of self-defense in response to Israel's assassinations of Hamas and Hezbollah leaders. Meanwhile, Israel's intercept systems, such as the Arrow 3, successfully shot down ballistic missiles while they were still in space. At lower altitudes, David's Sling, a system similar to the American Patriot, intercepted additional targets. In January 2025, Israel carried out an attack on Iranian nuclear facilities, causing significant damage to Tehran's nuclear program. Iran, in turn, vowed retaliation against Israel, further escalating regional tensions. Notably, U.S. warships and aircraft assisted in neutralizing several attackers. The final line of defense was Israel's renowned Iron Dome system, equipped with radar-guided short-range interceptor missiles, which effectively shielded the skies from cruise missiles, ballistic missiles, rockets, and drones. However, many Navy power members argue that despite its advanced multi-layered defense systems, Israel is not without vulnerabilities. Some Iranian missiles struck air bases during intense, overwhelming attacks designed to exhaust Israel's stockpile of interceptors. Even so, the shield held firm this time. Israeli strategists recognize that this is a numbers game, similar to the situation in Ukraine, where defensive forces consume missiles faster than the industry can replace them. Israel is pursuing a revolutionary solution, an air defense system with unmatched power and unlimited ammunition, laser weapons called Iron Beam. What makes this technology the weapon of the future? Iron Beam, also known as the Light Shield, is a high-energy laser weapon system in the 100 kilowatts class, first unveiled by Rafael Advanced Defense Systems in 2014. It is designed not to replace the Iron Dome, but to complement it. On October 28, 2024, Israel's Ministry of Defense signed a 2 billion shekel, $536 million contract with domestic defense companies, including Rafael Advanced Defense Systems and Elbit Systems, to scale up production of the system. Iron Beam is expected to be integrated into Israel's multi-layered defense network, supplementing existing systems such as Iron Dome, David's Sling, and Arrow to create a comprehensive shield against threats at various altitudes and ranges. With a laser beam output of up to 100 kilowatts, the most powerful in the world today, Iron Beam delivers high interception efficiency at a fraction of the cost compared to traditional systems. Iron Beam is truly an unstoppable and limitless weapon, capable of automatically neutralizing short-range threats with directed energy from distances of up to 6.2 miles, as long as it remains connected to a power source. Moreover, the system boasts remarkable features: unlimited ammunition. While traditional cannons and missile launchers depend on a finite stockpile of munitions, Iron Beam can operate continuously without interruption, provided its energy supply is maintained. Although the system's power sources and components do not last indefinitely, it offers a significant advantage over conventional missile stockpiles in terms of long-term battlefield sustainability. Do you think a weapon that eliminates the need for reloading like conventional artillery will transform warfare? This is exactly what Iron Beam is achieving, delivering rapid, precise, and time-saving strikes where every second counts. Consider the frustration of deploying missiles costing tens of thousands of dollars just to intercept targets that are far less expensive. Currently, each Iron Dome interceptor missile from Israel costs between $40,000 and $50,000, while Iran's Shahed 136 drones are priced at roughly $30,000. Hamas also utilizes homemade rockets crafted from industrial tubes and explosives, costing just about $1,000 each. It's challenging to sustain a conflict when you're consistently on the expensive side of the equation, isn't it? Do you think Iron Beam will fundamentally change the nature of warfare? Will this light shield revolutionize global defense? Share your thoughts on this futuristic weapon in the comments below. One of Iron Beam's standout advantages is its extremely low interception cost. While each Iron Dome interception costs approximately $30,000, similar laser systems range from just $1.50 to $13 per interception. Although the Israeli Ministry of Defense has not disclosed specific costs for Iron Beam interceptions with double the power of Dragonfire, it's expected to be higher, but still significantly more economical than Iron Dome. Iron Beam's laser travels at the speed of light, approximately 111,847 miles per second, making it impossible for drones, mortars, missiles, or fighter jets to escape. Even against hypersonic or supersonic targets, Iron Beam ensures an almost absolute elimination rate. If you've seen science fiction movies, this is no longer fiction, but reality. Beyond speed and accuracy, Iron Beam is intelligently designed for autonomous operation. It automatically detects, tracks, and neutralizes threats without human intervention. This not only reduces stress on soldiers, but also maximizes security along Israel's borders. Do you think that with such an automated system, national security is entering a new era? Additionally, another major advantage of laser systems is the minimization of collateral damage. The Tamir interceptor missile of the Iron Dome system weighs up to 200 pounds, and if its engine fails or it misses its target, the consequences can be severe. With a laser, however, where it aims is where it strikes, no deviation, no risk of debris. Imagine a day when Iron Beam not only protects Israel, but is deployed worldwide, providing a protective shield for cities and communities. Initially, Iron Beam was expected to enter service in the latter half of 2026. However, Israel's Director General of the Ministry of Defense, Eyal Zamir, expressed hope that the system could be operational sooner, within the next year. In 2022, Iron Beam underwent testing, and the original plan was to deploy it within 3 years. To accelerate the deployment of the Iron Beam laser defense system, U.S. President Joe Biden approved a $15 billion military aid package for Israel in April 2024, which included $1.2 billion specifically for the development of Iron Beam. This is a significant investment in unproven technology, but if successful, the Iron Beam will create an almost impenetrable defensive shield. In December 2022, Rafael and leading defense contractor Lockheed Martin officially announced an ambitious agreement, a partnership to develop, test, and manufacture the high-energy laser weapon system, HE, as part of the Iron Beam project. Imagine a system capable of protecting Israel from frequent aerial attacks, especially as weapons become increasingly common and have greater ranges. The United States might face similar threats in the future, but with Israel's expertise in laser development, could this problem be addressed as quickly as a flash of light? The U.S. Army is quietly preparing for a revolutionary leap in air defense weaponry with its ambitious project, the Directed Energy Maneuver Short-Range Air Defense (DE-SHORAD) system. With an investment of $1.9 billion, this system focuses on developing a 50 kilowatts laser integrated into advanced Stryker armored vehicles. Expected to launch between 2024 and 2025, DE-SHORAD will not only provide superior defense against drones and artillery, but also mark a turning point in protecting ground forces during short-range conflicts. Currently, the U.S. military is running 31 high-energy laser development programs, yet none have delivered the desired real-world results. While troops in the Middle East seem unimpressed with the Directed Energy Defense System DEM-SHORAD, another system stands out, the Locust Laser by Blue Halo, a defense contractor with over 40 years of experience in laser development. The Locust system is a solid-state laser weighing 3,400 pounds, equipped with its own guided radar and even controllable via an Xbox controller, offering 360-degree air defense. though it has a lower power output of 20 kilowatts compared to Israel's Iron Beam, 100 kilowatts, or SHORAD, 50 kilowatts. Locust excels with its intelligent AI-powered control system. This technology focuses the laser beam on a coin-sized point, powerful enough to cut through hardened steel. What sets it apart is AI's ability to identify and classify targets, enabling it to aim at the weakest points of a device. For instance, against a quadcopter drone, Locust can target the rotor to disable it. This technology can even take down larger drones in Group 3, weighing up to 400 pounds, commonly used by Russia and Iran for mass attacks. With Locust, both compact devices and large targets are destroyed in an instant. In April 2024, the U.S. Army officially deployed high-energy laser Locust systems to counter enemy drones, marking a significant milestone in the practical application of laser weapons in combat. The Army has been deploying Locust units in the Middle East since 2022, where they've been used to shoot down drones, missiles, and mortars. According to a Forbes report in May 2024, Locust can melt sensitive drone components in seconds, destroying them. A report that marked the first time the U.S. military confirmed the operational use of laser weapons in the field. What do you think about Locust's superior ability to eliminate drones? Could this be the future of modern warfare? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever imagined that one day, laser weapons, once confined to science fiction, would become a reality? Not only a reality, but also the ultimate weapon to protect nations against increasingly advanced threats. This is the power of laser-directed energy weapon systems. Imagine a battlefield where waves of enemy drones swarm forward, only to be obliterated in mere moments by lasers moving at the speed of light. The laser's rapid and continuous firing capability creates an incredibly effective final line of defense. A weapon that doesn't require reloading like artillery or missiles. Do you think this will become the future of warfare? Notably, China recently supplied Iran with a directed energy laser system. According to reports, this system is designed to dazzle or even destroy drones under certain conditions. The system can detect targets within a 3.1-mile range using advanced radar and operates with laser outputs ranging from 10 to 20 kilowatts. Specifications indicate it can neutralize targets within 1.2 miles or completely destroy drones at distances up to 0.93 miles. Does this sound intimidating? With a continuous operating time of up to 200 seconds and requiring less than 5 minutes to prepare for the next shot, this system clearly represents a significant threat on the battlefield. In November 2024, a report from Chinese scientists garnered global attention. They claimed a major breakthrough in developing a high-tech weapon that seems straight out of blockbuster sci-fi films like Star Wars, a high-power microwave weapon dubbed a death ray. The story becomes even more intriguing with the disclosure of technical details. This weapon is not merely conceptual, but a sophisticated combination of small electromagnetic waves converging into a powerful laser beam with exceptional precision. The most astonishing aspect, these beams can focus on a single point with a margin of error of less than 170 picoseconds, a nearly unimaginable level of accuracy in today's technological landscape. So what makes this weapon so fearsome? Its ability to disrupt GPS signals and critical American satellites has officially opened a new chapter in electronic warfare. Is this the dawn of a new space war, where death rays replace traditional missiles and artillery? The answer remains uncertain, but the potential threat is now more apparent than ever. Furthermore, in August 2023, Chinese military scientists announced the development of an advanced cooling system that enables laser weapons to fire continuously without overheating. This system manages airflow to remove heat from within the weapon, preventing vibrations and operational disruptions, thereby increasing its range and firepower. These milestones highlight China's significant investments in laser weapon technology to enhance both defensive and offensive capabilities in modern warfare scenarios. Of course, Russia is not sitting idle in the race for laser technology. The debut of UFL-2M, the world's most powerful laser system, is a bold statement of ambition. With a maximum power output of 4.6 megajoules, UFL-2M far surpasses modern systems from the US or France, opening up research and application possibilities beyond imagination. Russia claims UFL-2M's primary purpose is nuclear energy research, particularly controlled thermonuclear fusion reactions. However, experts believe its military potential is equally significant. The system can simulate nuclear explosions, study matter under extreme temperature and pressure, and herald a new era in science and warfare. Although operational since 2020 and expected to be fully completed in 4 to 5 years, UFL-2M has captured global attention. Will this be the key to a technological leap or a trump card in the global arms race? However, there are limitations. Lasers can only focus on one target at a time and require cooling between shots. Are you aware of the critical weaknesses of Iron Beam? As one of the most advanced defense systems globally, Iron Beam has gained attention for its ability to use lasers to destroy rockets, UAVs, or artillery shells with low cost and rapid response. But even a cutting-edge technology like this has its own vulnerabilities. If not addressed, these could become significant limitations in future conflicts. Imagine a battle taking place under a thick cloud cover or in heavy rain. You might expect Iron Beam, with its powerful laser, to neutralize the enemy in an instant. But reality tells a different story. Laser systems are less effective in adverse weather conditions, such as fog, heavy rain, dust, or dense smoke. These factors can degrade or scatter the laser beam, reducing its ability to eliminate targets. This means that in suboptimal environmental conditions, Iron Beam struggles to perform at its peak, making the system less reliable during complex operations. The emergence of laser systems in combat not only changes how nations address drone threats, but also paves the way for large-scale deployment in the future. Experts believe these weapons will become commonplace on the battlefield, a scenario that was once confined to science fiction. Now, they are expected to enhance national security more effectively than ever before. Do you agree that if these systems are fully developed and widely deployed, they could shift the balance of power on the battlefield? Drop a 1 in the comments if you share this perspective. If you're curious about how advanced weapons like Iron Beam are shaping the future of military strategy, feel free to leave a comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
US unleashes superbomb. Houthis crumble under overwhelming firepower. The Yemeni sky lit up like fireworks as the US retaliated against the Houthis with a devastating airstrike campaign. From Diego Garcia, B-2 Spirit stealth bombers took off under cover of darkness, dropping MOPE bombs, 30,000-pound bunker busters, on Sana'a and Hodeidah, key Houthi strongholds. Explosions shook the desert, black smoke billowing from underground bunkers housing C-802 missiles and Shahed 136 drones. This wasn't just an airstrike, it was a resounding US declaration. No one challenges the world's top superpower and escapes the consequences. The B-2 Spirit, nicknamed the Dark Messenger, was the heart of the operation. More than a technological marvel, it's a symbol of air dominance. Its bat-winged, tailless design and radar cross-section smaller than a bee, 0.1 square meters, let it glide past Houthi defenses like an invisible phantom. A 4-channel fly-by-wire system, paired with sensors and supercomputers, keeps it stable without a traditional tail, maneuvering 8 wing surfaces to thread through enemy radar. Flying at 50,000 feet, or skimming below 200 feet, the B-2 cruises at subsonic speed, 0.9 Mach, hugging terrain with its ANAPQ-181 radar, leaving foes with only a fleeting glimpse, if they're lucky. The B-2 dropped MOP bombs, each 30,000 pounds, with 5,300 pounds of H-6 explosive. Guided by GPS, They burrowed 60 meters through rock and concrete, obliterating missile and drone bunkers in Hodeidah, especially on Cameron Island, a Houthi strategic port. In 48 hours, over 50 targets were wiped out, from weapon depots to command centers. A US pilot radioed, "I saw smoke rising like a volcano. Houthi had nothing left to fight with." Per USNI News, April 2025, strikes on April 3rd hit 2 more drone depots in Hodeidah, led by B-2s. While MOP shone in Yemen, the Moab, GBU-43B, 21,600 pounds, remains legendary in the US arsenal. In 2017, an MC-130 dropped it on ISIS-K caves in Afghanistan, its shockwave spreading a mile, erasing a tunnel network. Packed with 18,700 pounds of H6- 1.35 times stronger than TNT Moab, detonates mid-air, sending devastating pressure into every crevice, collapsing caves and surface structures. GPS ensures errors of mere feet, making it a terrifying psychological weapon with a mushroom cloud resembling a nuke. Though unconfirmed in Yemen, the Pentagon hinted Moab's ready, a warning keeping Houthis and Iran in check. Alongside B-2s, F-35 Lightning IIs, and F-18 Super Hornets from USS Harry S. Truman and Carl Vinson were razor-sharp spears. The F-35, with AESA radar and stealth coating, spotted Houthi drones from afar, downing them with AIM-120 missiles before they could approach. In Sana'a strikes, F-35s dropped 2,000-pound JDAM GBU-31 bombs, piercing Rajam and Al-Nahdin bases. F-18s from Truman carried JDAMs and AGM-88 HARM missiles, disabling Houthi radars to clear paths for B-2s. 22 Hodeidah strikes involved F-35s, destroying C-802 missile launchers. USS Gravely and USS Stout fired Tomahawk missiles from the Red Sea, each carrying 1,000 pounds of explosives, flying 1,500 kilometers while hugging terrain via Turcom. Strikes targeted Hodeidah arsenals, demolishing dozens of Shahed 136 drones. Gravely's EGS system, with Spy-1D radar, scanned 360 degrees, shooting down Houthi missiles with Mach 3.5 SM-2s. A US Navy officer said, "EGS is like an all-seeing eye, nothing slips through." Al Jazeera reported Houthis lost 80% of their attack capability post-Tomahawk strikes. The Houthis bragged about downing an MQ-9 Reaper, March 8, 2025, but it was their only win before the US storm. Relentless B-2, F-35, and Tomahawk strikes crippled Hodeidah's port, cutting off Iran's weapon supply. Per AP, the Houthis offered to halt attacks on US ships if strikes ceased, a sign of surrender. Trump declared, "Houthis done. Iran, watch out." From Sana'a, Houthi Twitter posts faded to weak echoes amid the ashes. At 6:45 a.m. local time on April 8, 2025, the sun barely peeked over the Red Sea, casting a golden glow on 2 steel giants of the US Navy, USS Harry S. Truman and USS Carl Vinson. These carriers didn't sail here for a vacation. They brought dozens of FA-18 Super Hornets, ready to turn the sky into a battlefield. I can almost hear the wind whipping across the deck, where hundreds of sailors hustle, hearts pounding as radar picks up faint blips from Yemen. Just days ago, on April 6th, the Houthis bragged to Newsweek about hitting Harry S. Truman with Qasef 2K drones and Quds 1 missiles. The US denied any damage, but the air on board feels heavy now. Every eye scans the horizon toward Houthi territory. Up top, at 7:10, an FA-18 from the Red Rippers squadron roars to life. The pilot, maybe Lieutenant Jake Razor Thompson, grips the stick, eyes locked on the ANAPG-79 radar screen. This baby can spot targets 93 miles out, plenty to catch Houthi drones or missiles before they get close. On April 5th, Al Jazeera reported Houthis launched 5 cheap drones at a cargo ship near Bab el-Mandeb, forcing USS Gravely to shoot them down. Jake knows it. One slip-up, and his mothership, Carl Vinson, could be next. He slams the throttle, the FA-18 screaming up to 40,000 feet, ready to face whatever Iran or the Houthis throw his way. Below deck on Harry S. Truman, the Electromagnetic Aircraft Launch System, EMALS, hums like a beating heart. I picture Petty Officer Emily Carter, 25, sweat dripping down her face, yelling into her radio, "Aircraft 3, green light!" In just 3 seconds, another FA-18 blasts off the deck, engines drowning out the waves. EMALS is the Navy's pride. Fast, precise, relentless. But today, it's more than tech. It's Emily's lifeline, her crew's hope against the Fatih 110 missiles Iran just shipped to the Houthis, with a 186-mile range, per Yahoo News on April 3rd. Every launch is a dare. Come and get us. Out on the water, USS Spruance glides into position at 8:30. Captain Mark Evans stands on the bridge, squinting toward Hodeidah. He gets the call from CENTCOM. Prep SM-6. This isn't your average Tomahawk. The SM-6 hits Mach 3.5, packing a 1,500-pound warhead, and can switch from air defense to ground strikes. Defense News said on April 2nd that Houthis are beefing up IS-91 radars near the coast, aiming for FA-18s. Mark barks, "Fire!" 2 SM-6s erupt from the VLS cells, tearing through the Red Sea air. 6 minutes later, they slam into a Houthi launch site, turning it into a smoking heap, along with 8 operators. Mark exhales, but he knows Iran's watching. The tension spikes at 10 o'clock when Carl Vinson's radar picks up 3 IRGC boats creeping closer from the Strait of Hormuz, 173 miles out. Iran's testing the US, as Yahoo News warned. Inside the ship's Combat Information Center, Lieutenant Commander Lee Nguyen shouts, "All stations ready." The SPY-6 radar beeps like a racing pulse, scanning 360 degrees, locking every move. AI crunches the data, suggesting an SM-3 launch if Iran crosses the line. Lisa's hands clench, her mind flashing to her 5-year-old daughter back home, praying today doesn't go south. On X, someone posts, "The Red Sea's about to light up. Houthis and Iran don't know who they've messed with." By noon, FA-18s from Harry S. Truman unleash AGM-154 JSOWs on a weapons stash near Sayada. The bombs drop, the ground shakes, and smoke billows. 10 C-802 missiles go up in flames, but Iran's quietly funneling more gear through the Gulf of Oman, intel says. The Red Sea's a chessboard now. One wrong move could change everything. Jake, Emily, Mark, Lisa, they're not just fighting with machines, they're fighting with guts, fear, and faith. The Houthis and Iran picked the wrong foe, but will they back off? Or is this just the calm before a bigger storm?
The Israeli Navy, with 45 patrol boats and 5 submarines, may not yet pose a significant maritime threat to Iran. But times are changing rapidly. Israel has just unveiled an oceanic steel legend, the INS Drekon submarine. This Sea Dragon, equipped with advanced technology and a formidable design, is a force to be reckoned with. Measuring 225 feet in length, weighing 2,400 tons, and valued at $650 million, the INS Drekon is not just the most advanced attack submarine, but also an unprecedented symbol of Israel's cutting-edge military strength. But what lies beneath that cold steel exterior? The secrets of the INS Drekon's power will astonish you. Join Navy Power as we uncover the details. So, what makes the INS Drekon special? Designed specifically for underwater surveillance and special operations in the Mediterranean, this submarine dominates the seas with its cutting-edge technology. It marks Israel's strategic leap in strengthening its maritime presence. The INS Drekon, the latest jewel in the Israeli Navy's Dolphin II-class submarine fleet, was officially unveiled in Kiel, Germany on November 12, 2024. Optimized for strategic missions, the INS Drekon is equipped with advanced combat systems, exceptional deep-diving capabilities, and state-of-the-art noise reduction technology, making it a vital asset for safeguarding maritime security. The submarine is expected to be delivered and integrated into the Israeli Navy by 2025, further solidifying Israel's strategic position in the region. Currently, Israel has a total of 6 submarines, including 3 Dolphin I-class submarines and 3 more advanced Dolphin II-class submarines, including the INS Drakon. A major difference between the Dolphin II and Dolphin I classes lies in their propulsion system. The Dolphin II is equipped with an air-independent propulsion (AIP) system, while the Dolphin I still uses a traditional diesel-electric propulsion system. What advantages does the AIP system bring? It's a revolutionary leap in submarine technology. AIP allows submarines to operate underwater for extended periods, with higher speeds and more flexible ranges, without the need to surface frequently for battery recharging, an action that makes submarines more vulnerable to detection. Did you know that AIP technology is being heavily invested in by major powers like the United States, Russia, China, and Germany? China recently unveiled its Type 39A Yuan-class submarine, while Germany developed the Type 212A class for both German and Italian navies. Germany has even collaborated on building AIP-equipped submarines for Israel. Russia is also showcasing the power of AIP with its Amur 1650 submarine, a modernized version of the renowned Kilo class. AIP enables the Amur 1650 to operate continuously underwater for up to 45 days, an impressive feat in modern naval strategy. Additionally, the system reduces noise, making the submarine virtually invisible to enemy sonar systems. With a top speed of 22 miles per hour, a diving depth of 984 feet, and a compact design, the Amur 1650 has become a silent nightmare for any fleet daring to confront it. Returning to the INS Drakon, its AIP system generates a thrust of 4,243 horsepower, enabling the submarine to reach a top speed of 29 miles per hour and a range of up to 3,220 miles, over 1.5 times the radius of the Moon. But mobility alone isn't enough, is it? The standout feature of this Dragon is its formidable firepower. The INS Drakon is equipped with 10 torpedo tubes, measuring 21 inches and 26 inches in diameter. Its arsenal includes UGM-84C Harpoon anti-ship missiles, Triton anti-helicopter missiles, and most notably Popeye turbo cruise missiles, propeller-powered missiles capable of submarine-launched strikes with a minimum range of 932 miles. What do you think of this power? Is the INS Drakon truly the doomsday weapon Israel needs amid rising regional tensions? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Among the advanced weaponry equipped on the Dolphin-class submarines, the most notable is the Popeye turbo missile, capable of carrying a 200-kiloton nuclear warhead. The air-launched variant has an estimated range of 124 to 217 miles. Notably, the submarine-launched version, the Popeye Turbo, is reported to have an astounding range of up to 932 miles, based on tests conducted in 2000. But that's not all. The heavy torpedo Sea-Hake Mod 4, an export version of the DM-2A4 Sea-Hake developed by Atlas Electronic, is also part of this arsenal. This wire-guided torpedo was initially designed for the German Navy. With a length of 21.7 feet and a weight of 3,373 pounds, it combines destructive power with tactical flexibility. Equipped with an advanced electric motor and high-performance silver-zinc batteries, this torpedo can reach speeds exceeding 31 knots, about 58 miles per hour, a daunting figure for any adversary. However, the most astonishing feature is its range. The Sea-Hake Mod 4 ER variant set a record with a range of over 87 miles during testing. This means the Sea-Hake Mod 4 can strike from well beyond the detection range of enemy forces. Moreover, the Dolphin Advanced DRA-class submarines can accommodate vertical launch tubes, enabling the deployment of larger warheads, stored and launched vertically rather than horizontally. This capability allows for the storage of massive explosives unmatched by most submarines. What sets the DRA apart is its enormous sail structure. Twice the size of its predecessors, this sail provides extensive storage space, capable of holding up to 16 torpedoes and mines, almost equal to the capacity of the U.S. Virginia-class submarines. It raises the question, can this sail also be used for other purposes, such as housing intelligence equipment unmanned underwater vehicles, or drones? The answer seems clear. The priority is maximizing firepower. Israel is willing to invest $650 million to produce this long, black cylinder because they understand its deterrent power, which can keep adversaries, especially Iran, at bay. However, if an enemy dares to cross the line and attack, Iran would face not only Israel and its Dolphin-class submarine fleet, but also Israel's powerful ally, the United States. The U.S.-Israel relationship is the envy of many nations. Over the decades, these two countries have co-developed superior weapon systems for the battlefield. Notably, May 2019 marked a significant milestone in U.S.-Israel military cooperation when two leading defense firms, Rafael Advanced Defense Systems Israel and Lockheed Martin U.S., signed an $80 million collaboration agreement. This agreement aimed to develop and produce the Spice Smart Bomb series over 3 years, delivering state-of-the-art precision strike technology to countries operating F-16 and F-35 fighters. With Israel's expertise in precision guidance and navigation technology, combined with America's advanced manufacturing capabilities, many in the Navy Power Channel believe Spice promises to optimize global military strength. Are you familiar with the Iron Dome missile defense system, the world's most renowned air defense system? It's a vivid testament to this strategic partnership. In October 2024, the U.S. allocated $17.9 billion for military aid to Israel, including providing weapons, aircraft fuel, and bolstering Israel's Iron Dome and David's Sling missile defense systems. Additionally, to address increasingly complex threats, Israel and the U.S. collaborated on developing a more comprehensive defense system. This includes radar systems and Air Force capabilities sourced from neighboring nations and Arab states. This system was tested in April 2024, achieving an impressive interception rate. Did you know that Israel not only develops advanced weapons like the world's first laser weapon, but also collaborates with the U.S. to create cutting-edge systems for mutual benefit? In this relationship, the two nations have spent billions of dollars exchanging everything from fighter jets to missiles. Most recently, in August, the U.S. approved a $20 billion arms deal for Israel, including tank ammunition, explosive mortars, military vehicles, and fighter jets. Amid the escalating Israel-Gaza conflict, the annual $3.8 billion military aid package from the U.S., under a 10-year agreement, ensures that Israel maintains a superior military advantage over hostile forces in the region. This raises an intriguing question. If Iran launched a large-scale attack on Israel, what would happen? Undoubtedly, the adversary would face not only the formidable INS Drakon submarine, but also strong support from the U.S. fleet, led by the Virginia-class attack submarines. Designed to destroy other submarines and carry out intelligence missions, these submarines combine stealth technology, advanced weapon systems, and cutting-edge information-gathering capabilities. The Virginia-class, or SSN 774, is the latest generation of nuclear-powered fast-attack submarines for the U.S. Navy, designed for a variety of missions ranging from anti-submarine warfare to intelligence gathering. They are expected to replace the older Los Angeles-class submarines and are planned to remain operational until at least 2060, with later models anticipated to serve into the 2070s. Each Virginia-class submarine is valued between $2.8 billion and $4.3 billion, reflecting the U.S.'s strategic investment in naval power. Can you imagine? The USS Virginia, the first of this class, was entirely designed on computers and launched in 2004. Just a year later, it joined the fight against global terrorism, proving its might with undeniable performance. With a maximum speed of 40 miles per hour, surpassing the INS Drakon by 40%, the Virginia-class achieves this feat thanks to its General Electric SG-9 nuclear propulsion system. With the combined strength of Israel and the U.S., can Iran or any other nation truly stand against them? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The Virginia-class submarine, a symbol of U.S. naval power, is designed for an astounding operational lifespan of 30 years, a figure unmatched by other submarines, including Israel's INS Draken. With a displacement of up to 22,404,000 pounds, the Virginia-class submarine is more than 4 times heavier than the INS Draken, offering unparalleled stability and firepower. Can you imagine? Its sheer weight alone symbolizes its overwhelming strength. Beyond its impressive size, the Virginia-class integrates a series of cutting-edge technologies never before seen in submarine history. Notably, this includes the U-shaped large aperture bow sonar, the wide aperture array WAA sonar arrays on both the port and starboard sides, and the ATB-29 passive towed sonar for long-range threat detection. In terms of firepower, each Virginia-class submarine can carry up to 65 missiles and torpedoes, including UGM-84 sub-Harpoon missiles designed for ship destruction, multi-role Tomahawk missiles capable of striking land and naval targets, and the heavyweight Mark 48 Advanced Capability ACAP torpedoes. Additionally, according to public budget documents, the Virginia-class submarine could become the first in the world to be equipped with high-energy laser weapons, a groundbreaking advancement in military technology. Have you ever considered putting the Virginia-class and Israel's INS Draken side by side, comparing each detail to determine which one is truly superior? The U.S. Virginia-class submarines and Israel's INS Draken are both marvels of underwater technology, each reflecting their respective nations' strategic and defense needs. However, when compared directly, many argue that the Virginia-class submarines from the U.S. stand out with numerous superior advantages. At approximately 377 feet long, and with a displacement of around 7,900 tons, the Virginia-class submarine is designed to perform a wide range of missions, from anti-submarine warfare to intelligence gathering. Meanwhile, the INS Draken, while larger than Israel's previous submarines, is still significantly smaller than the Virginia-class. The INS Draken's unusually large sail is thought to house vertical launch tubes for cruise missiles, a unique design that also presents challenges in terms of space and balance. The Virginia-class, on the other hand, is powered by an S9G nuclear reactor, which provides nearly unlimited energy, allowing it to operate continuously without refueling for over 30 years. This capability offers unmatched global deployment flexibility, a critical factor in the U.S. Navy's deep-sea strategy. In contrast, the INS Draken is expected to use an air-independent propulsion (AIP) system, enabling it to remain submerged longer than conventional diesel-electric submarines, though its operational duration and range remain limited compared to nuclear-powered submarines. Furthermore, the Virginia-class submarine is equipped with 12 vertical launch tubes for Tomahawk cruise missiles and 4 21-inch torpedo tubes, enabling diverse attack capabilities from sea to land. Its capacity to carry up to 65 weapons, including torpedoes and missiles, ensures effectiveness in both offensive and defensive missions. The INS Draken, with its large sail housing vertical launch tubes, is believed to be capable of launching nuclear-armed cruise missiles, adding a significant punch to Israel's arsenal. However, detailed information about the number and types of weapons the INS Draken can carry remains limited. Notably, the Virginia-class boasts advanced sonar systems, including the BQQ-10 bow sonar and a fiber-optic towed array sonar, offering exceptional target detection and tracking capabilities. Its stealthy acoustic design allows for quiet operations, minimizing the risk of detection. While both submarines exhibit cutting-edge design and technology, the Virginia-class stands out with its global operational capabilities, diverse weapon systems, and advanced stealth technology. The INS Draken, with its unique design and capability to launch cruise missiles from its sail, reflects Israel's specialized defensive strategy. However, when it comes to operational flexibility and overall power, the Virginia-class clearly holds a significant advantage. Each nation has its own strategic objectives, which are reflected in how they invest in submarine technology. For the United States, the Virginia-class submarines are not only a symbol of power, but also a tool to maintain global influence, from the Indo-Pacific region to the Atlantic. For Israel, a country with limited geographic space and a complex security environment, the focus is on developing strategic weapons like the INS Drakon to deter regional adversaries. The differences in design and functionality not only showcase technological capabilities, but also reveal how each nation addresses its unique security challenges. This contrast highlights the critical role submarines play as an indispensable strategic element in modern conflict environments. Meanwhile, the conflict between Israel and Gaza continues, stretching into its second year with escalating intensity. Both sides are not only expanding their arsenals, but also receiving support from major allies. Iran backs Gaza, while the United States stands firmly with Israel. The line between indirect support and direct involvement is becoming increasingly blurred as the most advanced weapons are deployed, shaking the earth with their destructive power. But the question remains, when will these cycles of tension come to an end? What are your thoughts on the role of global powers in either fueling or resolving conflicts? Share your opinions in the comments below. The INS Drakon is not just a submarine. It is a symbol of innovation and pioneering spirit in modern military technology. With superior capabilities including stealth design, diverse weapon deployment, and advanced automation systems, the Drakon is the latest pride of the naval forces. What's even more remarkable is its potential to revolutionize naval warfare, laying the groundwork for the next generation of submarines. If you are fascinated by compelling stories of military power like the INS Drakon, support Navy Power so we can continue bringing you engaging videos and valuable insights. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell to stay updated whenever we release new content.
The Houthi launched missiles at an American aircraft carrier, and less than 24 hours later, their military base was reduced to ashes. It seems they wanted to test whether they could survive the onslaught of precision bombs and Tomahawk missiles. A word of warning, there's no chance. The U.S. did not respond with words. They retaliated with fire. Although the U.S. claims it only wants to protect trade routes in the Red Sea, for the Houthis, the story is entirely different. Since 2015, their Yemen has been devastated by a coalition led by Saudi Arabia, supported by the U.S. with weapons, intelligence, and logistics. For the Houthis, every American ship is a symbol of their enemy ally. Thus, attacking is not just a provocation. It is their way of retaliating for years of bombings, blockades, and loss of life and property. On the evening of January 6, 2025, at 6:40 p.m., the radar screen on the USS Gravely suddenly erupted with data. Initially, there were just a few small blips, but they quickly transformed into a storm. The instability-1D radar, the heart of the Aegis system capable of tracking hundreds of targets simultaneously, detected multiple objects hurtling toward it at a terrifying speed. In just 2 seconds, the Aegis combat system, integrated with a supercomputer processing tens of millions of calculations per second, analyzed the situation and reached a conclusion. Missiles were incoming. The crew sprang into action. In less than 90 seconds, Gravely accelerated to 30 knots, while the USS Harry S. Truman aircraft carrier was put on high alert. The threat was real, and it was named Charlie 802, a subsonic cruise missile produced with Iranian assistance, reaching speeds of 610 miles per hour, skimming just 30 to 50 feet above the sea to evade radar detection. However, evading the SPY-1D radar, which can detect small targets at distances of hundreds of miles, was no easy task. Gravely is not an ordinary target. Electronic warfare specialists, using the ANSLQ-32 system, quickly confirmed what the radar had suspected. 2 Charlie 802 missiles were heading straight for the fleet formation. Each missile carries a 365-pound armor-piercing warhead, capable of penetrating a ship's hull like tearing through a tin can. At a distance of 150 miles and closing in fast, they had entered Gravely's kill zone. A decision was made instantly. Fire the SM-2 missiles. The Standard Missile 2, SM-2, with a speed of Mach 3.5 and a range of over 100 miles, is designed to take down targets as quickly as shooting down a bullet. Instead of using the advanced SM-6 version, Gravely launched 2 SM-2 Block 3A missiles, an older version but still ideal for subsonic threats, conserving the premium missiles for more formidable targets. In modern warfare, each missile is a valuable asset. 2 SM-2 missiles tore through the sky, racing at breakneck speed. Seconds later, the SPY-1D radar reported an explosion, accompanied by a rain of debris. Victory? Not so fast. The operational teams detected debris that was too large, alarmingly so. Did the missile hit its target, or merely scratch it? The tactical officer didn't take any chances and ordered 2 more SM-2.V, Lauford Tutti Incline Tutti missiles, to be fired at the same location. In real combat, there's no room for error. By 6:57 p.m., the radar confirmed. The threat was neutralized at a distance of 8 miles. But the crew had no time to celebrate, as they had to prepare for the next wave of attacks. Anyone who understands the Houthi knows. They never settle for just one strike. Just when the tension seemed to ease, at 7:00 p.m., the SPY-1D radar blared its warning. 4 new targets appeared on the horizon. Slower, smaller, but no less dangerous. They weren't missiles, but Shahed 136 drones, made in Iran, carrying a 44-pound warhead and flying at speeds exceeding 112 miles per hour. In the language of warfare, they may not pose a high-level threat, but if you let your guard down, they can leave you regretting it. A direct hit may not sink a destroyer, but, as any seasoned sailor would say, would you let someone punch you in the face just because that punch won't kill you? Indeed, the U.S. Navy won't stand idly by. Using a $1 million missile to shoot down a $5,000 drone is clearly not a good idea. That's why Captain Gravely let the drones get closer, first to 10 miles, then to 6 miles, and finally to 3 miles. The Houthis thought the destroyer was caught off guard, but in reality, Gravely was setting a trap. The ship subtly turned its stern, not to retreat, but to showcase the Gatling gun of the Phalanx CIWS, close-in weapon system. Then, hell broke loose. The CIWS, equipped with an integrated Doppler radar and a firing rate of 4,500 rounds per minute, is typically used to intercept missiles in the final seconds before impact, but it can also easily take out helicopters, speedboats, and, as in this case, suicide drones with heroic aspirations. At 16 miles, the CIWS radar calculated the drone's trajectory, speed, and altitude. At 10 miles, it adjusted the angle of fire. When the drones crossed the 3-mile threshold, the captain ordered, "Fire!" The CIWS unleashed a storm of 20-millimeter rounds. Before anyone could blink, 4 Shahed 136 drones were reduced to a pile of scrap metal floating on the surface of the sea.
Over the past 4 years, the United States has invested more than $8 billion in the development of hypersonic missiles and is projected to spend an additional $13 billion over the next 5 years. But just as the hypersonic race heats up, Iran has shocked the world by unveiling a terrifying weapon, the Fatah hypersonic missile. With this power, Iran, a close ally of Russia, could inflict devastating damage in an instant, particularly on Ukraine. But will the United States stand idly by? What do you think about the U.S. launching a powerful hypersonic response to counter Iran? Even more noteworthy, Iran has not only introduced a new weapon, but has also begun transferring ballistic missiles to Russia. This move profoundly alters the dynamics of the war and increases pressure on the parties involved. Western officials affirm that hundreds of short-range ballistic missiles have been delivered from Iran to Russia. Although the specific type of missile remains unknown, a Ukrainian source revealed to Sky News that it could be the Fateh 360, a weapon with a range of approximately 75 miles, notable for its precise guidance capabilities using satellite and inertial navigation systems. This demonstrates that Iran is not only supplying weapons, but also ensuring that Russia gains access to advanced navigation technology. Furthermore, the transport of these missiles involves complex logistical routes, including a Russian vessel that carried missiles from Iran to a port in the Caspian Sea. This highlights the level of strategic coordination between the two nations. What do you think? How might this alliance continue to expand in the future? Possessing a significant number of missiles from Iran will allow Russia to reallocate its Iskander short-range ballistic missiles, which have a range of at least 310 miles, to target more distant objectives in Ukraine. This is a strategic move that not only expands Russia's offensive capabilities, but also increases pressure on Ukrainian forces. Additionally, reports indicate that Russian military personnel have been trained in Iran to operate these missile systems, demonstrating thorough preparation and close cooperation between the two sides. Meanwhile, Ukraine continues its relentless counteroffensive. A recent example is Ukraine's attack on the Voronezh region in central Russia, believed to house the K-23 ammunition depot, a short-range missile supplied to Russia by North Korea. This attack, likely carried out using suicide drones, caused massive explosions and disrupted Russia's supply chain. Do you think Ukraine can continue to weaken Russia's weapons supplies in the future? Amid the escalating threat, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky traveled to Germany to call for increased military support from Western nations. He not only requested conventional weapons, but also emphasized the need for long-range attack systems to counter Iran's new missile technology. Systems like ATACMS, Storm Shadow, and Scalp EG have previously been sent to Ukraine, but clearly they are not enough. Ukraine needs more weapons, and it needs them urgently. Why the urgency? There is growing concern that the conflict could soon enter the era of hypersonic warfare, a scenario that not only troubles Kyiv, but also demands heightened vigilance from Washington. On June 6, 2023, Iran officially unveiled its first hypersonic missile, named Fateh, in a ceremony attended by President Ibrahim Raisi. This marks a significant leap in Iran's military technology, as the Fateh missile is claimed to reach a maximum speed of Mach 15, 15 times the speed of sound. With such capabilities, Iran not only joins the hypersonic club alongside the US, Russia, and China, but also has the potential to redefine the game. But what do you think about this? How will the Fateh missile impact global security, and does it have what it takes to compete with other hypersonic weapons worldwide? Share your thoughts in the comments below to let Navy Power know. Hypersonic missiles, as the name suggests, can travel at speeds exceeding Mach 5, more than 5 times the speed of sound, equivalent to 3,036 miles per hour at sea level. However, speed alone isn't what makes these weapons so formidable. The key lies in their maneuverability, which allows hypersonic missiles to surpass traditional intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs, that follow fixed trajectories. Additionally, the Fateh 2 is designed with a unique aerodynamic shape. At hypersonic speeds, its outer shell continuously vaporizes, creating a plasma cloud that electrically neutralizes and renders it invisible to radar waves. According to Iran's announcement, the Fateh 2's warhead is a hypersonic glide vehicle, HGV, capable of altering its trajectory to evade interception. This makes it nearly impossible to stop. The Fateh 2 is estimated to have a range of 310 to 1,550 miles, enabling it to strike targets within the Middle East and even beyond. Iran's hypersonic missile can carry conventional biochemical or nuclear warheads, offering destructive potential on a massive scale. During a missile strike on Israel in early April 2024, Iran reportedly deployed the Fateh 2, successfully penetrating Tel Aviv's advanced multi-layered missile defense system. To date, very few nations possess hypersonic missiles equipped with combat glide vehicles, HGVs, in their arsenal. One of these nations is Russia, with its Avangard hypersonic glide vehicle mounted on the intercontinental ballistic missile, ICBM Sarmat. Russia's HGV can reach speeds of 20 to 27 times the speed of sound, approximately 15,000 to 2,500 mph, and is capable of carrying a warhead with a destructive yield of up to 2 megatons, with minimal margin of error from the target. In 2019, China officially introduced the DFZF HGV into service. Mounted on a mobile medium-range ballistic missile, China's hypersonic glide warhead can travel at speeds up to 10 times the speed of sound, 7,770 mph. Hypersonic missiles can alter their flight path mid-course, making them nearly impossible to track or intercept. What are your thoughts on deploying a weapon that is both incredibly fast and maneuverable in real combat scenarios?
Currently, there are two main types of hypersonic missiles: air-breathing scramjet missiles. These use advanced engines that compress air for combustion, allowing sustained hypersonic speeds within the atmosphere. The second is glide vehicles. These missiles are launched to high altitudes by a booster, then glide and maneuver through the upper atmosphere to reach their targets.
Iran's Fatah missile belongs to the boost glide category, with a reported maximum speed of Mach 15, 15 times the speed of sound. According to Iranian media, the Fatah is not only fast, but also equipped with a thrust vectoring system, enabling precise control throughout its flight path. If deployed as claimed, the Fatah would pose a significant challenge to modern defense systems. Iran has stated that the Fatah can bypass Israel's Iron Dome missile defense system and strike targets in Israel in under 7 minutes. If this information is accurate, it would mark a major shift in the regional strategic balance. However, it is crucial to note that Iran has yet to provide concrete evidence of actual flight tests. So far, only ground-based engine tests have been documented. Another noteworthy feature is Fatah's ability to reduce its radar cross-section, enhancing its stealth capability against modern radar systems. Iran's Minister of Defense, Major General Mohammad Reza Ashtiani, asserted that this would increase Fatah's lethality. However, experts caution that even missiles with low radar cross-sections can still be detected by advanced radar systems, especially when they follow high-altitude trajectories, a characteristic of ballistic missiles. Some analysts have even compared Fatah to maneuverable warhead ballistic missiles, such as Russia's Iskander. This raises doubts about whether Fatah truly represents a technological breakthrough in hypersonic capabilities or is merely an upgrade of existing ballistic missile designs. What do you think? Is this a genuine advancement or just Iran recycling old technology? Developing hypersonic missiles is no easy feat. To date, only the United States, Russia, and China, countries with trillion-dollar economies and exceptional research and development capabilities, have successfully deployed such weapons. Yet the U.S. appears ready to confront any threats posed by hypersonic missiles. Recently, the U.S. military conducted a hypersonic weapons test at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida. However, the Pentagon has not disclosed whether the test was successful or provided any details about the system used. This silence is particularly notable given the turbulent history of the ground-based hypersonic weapons system, Dark Eagle, which is being developed jointly by the U.S. Army and Navy. Dark Eagle is a key component of the U.S. military's strategy to maintain technological superiority in the field of hypersonic weapons. This weapon is designed to surpass current missile defense technologies with unmatched speed and maneuverability. Its hypersonic speed exceeding Mach 5 makes Dark Eagle nearly impossible to intercept using traditional missile defense systems. After being launched by a booster rocket, the hypersonic glide vehicle flies along a trajectory and can alter its course mid-flight to evade attacks from defense systems. The Dark Eagle system is also part of the U.S. effort to deploy long-range hypersonic strike capabilities, enhancing the ability to hit critical targets deep inside enemy territory before the adversary has a chance to respond. Dark Eagle is designed to be launched from both mobile ground-based launchers and platforms on warships or submarines. This flexibility is a crucial feature, enabling rapid deployment and repositioning to adapt to changing tactical scenarios. As adversaries continue to develop their own hypersonic capabilities, U.S. military investments in systems like Dark Eagle ensure that Washington retains its edge in the next phase of modern warfare. Dark Eagle is not just an advanced hypersonic weapon, but also a symbol of a new era in missile warfare where the speed and maneuverability of hypersonic weapons will reshape the global military power balance. With ongoing advancements, this system is expected to be a vital asset in the U.S. military's arsenal, ensuring a sustained strategic advantage in the 21st century. Whether Russian air defense systems like the S-400 and S-500 can counter America's new hypersonic weapons, such as Dark Eagle, has become a hotly debated topic among analysts. The S-400 and S-500 are considered among the most powerful defense systems in the world, but they face significant limitations when dealing with hypersonic threats. The primary advantage of Dark Eagle is undoubtedly its hypersonic speed. At speeds ranging from Mach 5 to Mach 7, a missile like Dark Eagle is far faster than any Russian air defense system. The S-400 and S-500 are designed to counter missiles and aircraft traveling at speeds below Mach 5, not hypersonic objects moving at much higher velocities. Even the S-500 lacks the necessary technology to effectively track and intercept missiles traveling at these speeds. According to military experts, the lack of a fully developed real-time response mechanism means the S-500 cannot effectively intercept hypersonic missiles like Dark Eagle, which are capable of altering their flight path mid-course. One of the primary factors limiting the effectiveness of systems like the S-400 and S-500 is their reliance on processing radar data and guiding missiles based on predicted trajectories. In contrast, Dark Eagle employs a hypersonic glide vehicle, CHGB technology, allowing it to maneuver flexibly during flight, significantly reducing the likelihood of interception by missile defense systems. At the core of the Dark Eagle system is a two-stage ballistic missile featuring a boost glide configuration. This design includes a conventional rocket booster and a hypersonic glide vehicle, CHGB. Speed remains the primary advantage of this weapon, as hypersonic weapons travel at speeds of Mach 5 or greater, making them exceptionally difficult for traditional missile defense systems to intercept. The missile's booster stage propels the glide vehicle to an extremely high altitude before separating and allowing the vehicle to continue its trajectory toward the target. The CHGB is a critical component of the Dark Eagle system. After being released from the booster, this vehicle follows a hypersonic trajectory, relying on its ability to maneuver and adjust its course mid-flight to avoid interception. Unlike ballistic missiles, which follow a fixed trajectory, the CHGB can alter its path in real time to evade enemy missile defense systems. This capability is especially important in countering advanced systems like Russia's S-400 and S-500. Dark Eagle is part of a broader U.S. effort to deploy long-range hypersonic strike capabilities. While it is designed to work in conjunction with other military assets, it can also operate independently. This flexibility is one of the system's key strengths, allowing Dark Eagle to target high-value assets such as command centers, critical infrastructure, air defense systems, and missile launch sites before the adversary can respond. Dark Eagle can be launched from both mobile ground-based platforms and other weapon platforms such as trains or submarines. The system's mobility is a crucial feature, enabling rapid deployment to respond to changing tactical scenarios. The development of Dark Eagle is also part of the U.S. Army's modernization program. It is expected to serve as a key asset in the Army's arsenal, delivering precision strikes and rapid response capabilities. As multiple nations continue to develop hypersonic weapons, investments in systems like Dark Eagle will help the U.S. maintain its advantage in the next phase of modern warfare. Fundamentally, Dark Eagle represents a shift in how strategic attacks will be conducted in the future, emphasizing fast, high-speed, and highly flexible weapon systems capable of targeting critical infrastructure over long distances. The deployment of Dark Eagle marks a new era in missile warfare, an era defined by hypersonic speed and maneuverability, designed to overcome traditional defense systems and alter the balance of power in global military strategy. Dark Eagle is expected to be deployed in the coming months, despite being delayed by nearly a year from its original timeline. The delays stemmed from 3 canceled tests last year. In June, the Pentagon announced a successful test of a shared hypersonic missile design intended for both Dark Eagle and the Navy's Intermediate-Range Conventional Prompt Strike (IRCPS) system. However, a full end-to-end system test has yet to be conducted. A U.S. defense official described the recent tests as a critical milestone in the development of hypersonic technology. Data on hardware and software performance will play a pivotal role in deploying hypersonic weapon systems. As usual, specific details remain classified. The recent U.S. hypersonic test at Cape Canaveral drew attention as several specialized aircraft were involved, including the Navy's NP-3D missile tracking aircraft, NASA's WB-57F research aircraft, and a modified Gulfstream Halo jet for high-altitude observation. All of these platforms have played key roles in previous hypersonic missile testing efforts. Do you think this combination of technologies will allow the U.S. to surpass its adversaries? In the race to develop hypersonic weapons, the U.S. places its trust in the Common Missile All-Up Round, AUR, a boost glide vehicle system utilized in both the Army's Dark Eagle LRHW project and the Navy's IRCPS program. This system includes a large booster missile that accelerates and reaches an optimal altitude before deploying the unpowered hypersonic glide vehicle. Once released, the vehicle follows a low glide trajectory within the atmosphere at speeds exceeding Mach 5, combining velocity and interception difficulty. Hard to imagine, right? According to the U.S. Army, this system can reach a maximum speed of at least Mach 17 over 2,800 km with a range exceeding 2,777 km. Some warnings from recent tests even suggest the range could fall between 3,400 and 4,500 kilometers, opening the possibility of striking targets thousands of miles away. But will the deployment plan stay on schedule?
A report from the U.S. Government Accountability Office, GAO, recently highlighted ongoing challenges in completing the system for a full end-to-end test.
On a positive note, the US and Germany recently committed to deploying long-range strike systems, including hypersonic missiles, in Europe as early as 2026. This not only bolsters NATO's defensive strength, but also establishes a strategic line of defense in Europe against potential threats.
While the U.S. struggles to deploy Dark Eagle on time, Iran has drawn attention with its Fatah missile, a weapon advertised as capable of reaching Mach 15 and breaching modern defense systems.
Although there is no clear evidence of Fatah's combat readiness, Iran's claims have made the race more intense than ever.
What's your take on this race? Will the U.S., with its cutting-edge technology, maintain its lead, or will Iran surprise the world with unexpected advancements? One thing is certain, the world is moving closer to a hypersonic warfare era, where speed and maneuverability will decide everything.
Why is the United States considering deploying a bomber originally designed to flatten Moscow to deal with a secret base in the Middle East? Perhaps beneath the concrete and steel and the calculated silence lies a serious threat, significant enough to justify the presence of the B-2 Spirit, the ultimate weapon of the U.S. Air Force. This is not merely a reconnaissance mission, it is a powerful warning, and it is far from isolated. Following the fleeting silhouette of the B-2 is a complex war orchestra, KC-135s ensuring a continuous fuel supply in the skies, EA-18G Growler squadrons taking off from the strategic base at Diego Garcia to disrupt enemy radar systems, and underground analysts are closely monitoring every development. However, Iran is a formidable opponent, possessing one of the most dense and dangerous air defense networks in the world. Although the B-2 is designed to evade radar, even a small miscalculation in flight planning could turn this $2 billion asset into a pile of scrap. The key to success lies in altitude control. The bomber must climb at the right moment, releasing the super bomb GBU-57, which can penetrate 60 meters of earth and concrete and then disappear like a ghost before being detected. Everything began in absolute silence. From Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri, the B-2 quietly ascended into the night sky, starting its journey across the ocean. Its aerial refueling capability allowed it to fly continuously, but the limits of the pilot's endurance posed a challenge. Therefore, the Pentagon established strategic stopovers closer to its destination, one in Qatar and another at a key location in the Indian Ocean, Diego Garcia. So why not launch from Qatar, which is significantly closer? The answer lies in a critical factor. Iran is not an easy opponent, and Washington is well aware of that. Tehran's air defense system is not only extensive, but also extremely dangerous, equipped with formidable weapons like the Bavar 373 missile and Russia's S-300 system, capable of targeting from great distances. Qatar, despite being an ally, is fully within the range of these systems. A B-2 stationed there would be at risk of being destroyed right on the ground. Therefore, the Pentagon chose a bolder solution to use Diego Garcia, a remote location beyond the reach of Iranian radar. From this distant and quiet place, the B-2s would launch like ghosts, leaving no trace and giving no warning. At the same time, on the other side of the Arabian Sea, the second act of the play had begun. Squadrons of FA-18 Super Hornets and EA-18G Growlers took off from aircraft carriers patrolling the Persian Gulf. One group was tasked with clearing a path through Iran's radar network, while the other was responsible for protecting the KC-135 refueling aircraft hovering in the skies over Saudi Arabia. These flying gas stations were unarmed and did not engage directly in combat, but their presence was crucial for the entire operation. The B-2s silently approached their targets, their unique shapes blending into the darkness. Stealth is their armor, but distance is their greatest enemy. Hours after departing from Diego Garcia, they crossed the Suez Canal. Their refueling aircraft awaited them. The refueling procedure took place at thousands of feet in altitude under the protective cover of FA-18 fighter jets. Simultaneously, the EA-18G Growler squadron emitted dense electronic waves, creating interference that blinded radar systems and severed enemy communications, turning the sky into an invisible maze. Deep underground at command centers thousands of miles away, intelligence analysts are glued to their screens, monitoring every detail. Even a single unusual radar signal from Iran would be detected immediately. But the toughest challenge still lies ahead, penetrating Iranian airspace. Every aspect of the plan has been calculated down to the smallest detail. The B-2s fly at extreme altitudes close to the edge of the atmosphere. Their special radar-absorbing shell makes them nearly invisible to enemy air defense systems. When the target is within range, the decisive moment arrives. Release the GBU-57, a weapon dubbed the Divine Hammer, not to destroy buildings, but to obliterate underground cities. Weighing over 14 tons, the GBU-57 can only be carried by the B-2. It doesn't require an engine. Gravity will take care of the rest. Equipped with 4 sophisticated control surfaces, a precise military GPS navigation system, and an ultra-durable casing, this bomb is designed to penetrate 200 feet of reinforced earth before detonating. Its targets include nuclear bunkers, heavily fortified command centers, and secret military installations. It is the only weapon capable of drilling through an entire mountain to strike at the heart of its target. But the underground explosion was not the end. The most dangerous part was just beginning a safe retreat. Even though the bomb was successfully dropped without detection, the B-2's stealth capabilities are not permanent. The explosion would trigger Iran's entire defense system. S-band radar scanned the sky, and the Bavar 373 and S-300 missile systems were ready to fire. Suddenly, the sky was illuminated by a barrage of surface-to-air missiles soaring upward in search of their retaliatory targets. At this moment, the B-2 became extremely vulnerable. However, the EA-18G Growler aircraft continue to fight relentlessly. They persist in electronic jamming, turning the airspace into a chaotic mess of signals, crippling the enemy's radar and communication systems. At the same time, the FA-18 Super Hornet jets, guided by AWACS, early warning aircraft, detected and intercepted Iranian fighter jets, MiG-29 F-14, attempting to approach the B-2 with long-range air-to-air missiles, forcing them to turn back or be destroyed. The atmosphere was as tense as a drawn bowstring. Every moment in the skies over Iran was a life-or-death battle of wits. Finally, over Iraqi airspace, the B-2 bombers reunited with the KC-135 refueling aircraft. As the refueling process took place, the F-35 Lightning II fighter jets joined in, forming an additional layer of protection. There was no room for complacency. Any remaining threats may be lurking. The B-2 Spirit was not designed for combat. It was built for preemptive strikes and to disappear. Its true power lies not in its shape, but in what it carries inside. The Red Sea, one of the world's busiest shipping lanes, suddenly became the center of a shocking event. The Houthis, an Iran-backed rebel group in Yemen, did the unthinkable. They targeted the USS Harry S. Truman, a 100,000-ton nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, an inviolable symbol of the U.S. Navy. Using a barrage of drones and ballistic missiles, the Houthis claimed this was retaliation for U.S. airstrikes against their facilities in Yemen. But what really happened? And why did all their efforts crumble against America's overwhelming power? Let's explore this dramatic story. According to reports, from March 16 to 18, 2025, the Houthis launched 3 consecutive waves of attacks within 48 hours, targeting the USS Harry S. Truman Carrier Strike Group. They used Iranian-designed Samad-3 drones with a range of up to 1,000 miles, along with ballistic and cruise missiles. Houthi military spokesman Yahya Sari announced on Al Masirah TV that these attacks lasted for hours and even prevented the U.S. from conducting military operations against Yemen. But reality tells a completely different story. The Truman Strike Group, consisting of the aircraft carrier USS Harry S. Truman, the cruiser USS Gettysburg, and the destroyers USS Stout, USS Jason Dunham, and USS The Sullivans, was ready to respond. According to U.S. defense officials, over a dozen Houthi drones and missiles were successfully intercepted before they could get close to their targets. Some missiles missed their mark by more than 100 miles, falling harmlessly into the Red Sea. The U.S. Navy didn't even need to deploy its full force, as advanced radars like the AN/SPS-48, with a scanning range of nearly 300 miles, detected the threats from a great distance. The Aegis system on the escort ships quickly identified and neutralized the targets, leaving the Houthis with a bitter defeat. But the story doesn't end there. By early April, the Houthis claimed they attacked the Truman twice more, on April 1st and 2nd, using 18 missiles and drones within 24 hours. Some sources in Yemen even asserted they targeted supply ships accompanying the Truman, aiming to disrupt U.S. operations. However, the U.S. Navy still reported no damage. Experts suggest these claims might be part of a propaganda campaign to project Houthi strength to the Yemeni people and their Iranian allies, despite the clear disparity shown on the battlefield. While the Houthis continued their challenges, life aboard the USS Harry S. Truman carried on as usual. On April 12, 2025, about 25 sailors participated in a traditional Passover Seder, commemorating the ancient Israelites' liberation story, right in the middle of the Red Sea. This demonstrated the crew's indomitable spirit, despite external threats. The Truman Strike Group not only defended itself, but also conducted daily airstrikes targeting Houthi military facilities to weaken their offensive capabilities. The U.S. military campaign, which began on March 15th, was significantly intensified under President Donald Trump's administration. Airstrikes targeted Houthi radar sites, air defense systems, and weapons production facilities, including a mine-making factory in Zabid on March 17th. However, the campaign also drew controversy when the Houthi-controlled Ministry of Health reported 61 civilian deaths and 139 injuries by the end of March. These figures raise questions about the precision of attacks in densely populated areas. The Houthi attack on the USS Harry S. Truman was not just a military failure, but also exposed the technological and strategic gap between a rebel force and the American superpower. But could these drones find a vulnerability in the U.S. Navy's steel shield if they were improved? In the next part, we will explore a hypothetical scenario where the Houthis get closer to their target, and how the aircraft carrier deals with the threat. We just witnessed the Houthis' failure when challenging the USS Harry S. Truman in March 2025, with their drones and missiles falling harmlessly into the Red Sea. But what if the Houthis learned from their mistakes, improved their tactics, and got closer to the American aircraft carrier? Let's step into a hypothetical scenario where the Houthis launch a daring attack on the night of April 1st, 2025, using Iranian-designed Samad-3 drones, taking advantage of darkness and complex conditions to test the U.S. Navy's steel shield. Could they even put a scratch on this symbol of power? Let's find out. Imagine, the Red Sea is shrouded in darkness, with only the lights from the USS Harry S. Truman and its escorts sparkling on the water. Suddenly, the ship's radar detects a series of strange signals. A swarm of Samad-3 drones, with a range of over 1,000 miles and a speed of about 200 miles per hour, is approaching from the direction of Yemen. Unlike previous attempts, this time the Houthis chose a more sophisticated approach. The drones fly low, skimming the sea surface to hide in radar clutter, hoping to exploit the nighttime conditions to get close to the Truman strike group. This is a bold effort, but is it enough to penetrate America's layered defenses? Instantly, the USS Harry S. Truman's defense systems switch to high alert. The AN/SPS-48 radar system, with its nearly 300-mile scanning range, immediately detects the targets. If this radar misses anything, the AN/SPS-49V 2D air search radar, with a range of over 200 miles, serves as a backup layer. In the Truman's Combat Information Center, screens light up like Christmas trees, displaying the drone's trajectories. Officers shout commands, sailors rush to their stations, and electronic warfare systems are activated. One drone immediately loses its bearings as its guidance signal is jammed by the electronic warfare suite aboard the cruiser USS Gettysburg. It veers off course, plunging into the sea dozens of miles from the target, a scenario very similar to what actually happened in March, when many Houthi drones missed by over 100 miles. But let's assume a second drone is more skillful, skimming the water's surface to evade radar. It gets closer, now only a few dozen miles from the Truman. This is when the carrier's close-in weapon systems shine. The Phalanx CIWS, Close-In Weapon System, nicknamed Sea-Whiz, is activated. This 6-barreled Gatling gun fires 4,500 rounds per minute. That's 75 rounds per second, creating a dazzling wall of bullets like fireworks. Within seconds, the drone is torn to shreds, turning into a fireball that crashes into the sea. The harmless debris sinks deep beneath the waves, leaving no trace. What if, by some miracle, a third drone manages to get past the radar and the CIWS? The destroyers USS Stout and USS Jason Dunham, part of the Truman Strike Group, would engage. They launch SM-2 missiles, precision-guided missiles with a range of 100 to 200 miles, designed to neutralize airborne threats. Given the Samad-3 drone's slow speed, the SM-2 easily locks onto the target and turns it into smoke long before it nears the carrier. According to recent reports from the U.S. Department of Defense, these destroyers have carried out dozens of similar intercepts in the Red Sea since late 2024, protecting not only the Truman, but also commercial vessels. And if, in an almost impossible scenario, a drone were to breach all these defense layers, the USS Harry S. Truman still has one last card to play: a second CIWS mount, firing thousands of 20mm tungsten rounds, shredding the drone in the blink of an eye. This system is much cheaper than the SM-2 missiles, which cost millions of dollars each, making it an ideal choice for countering low-cost drones like the Samad-3. In fact, according to an analysis in Defense News in April 2025, the U.S. Navy is optimizing its CIWS systems to deal with the increasing wave of drones from groups like the Houthis. This scenario reveals one clear thing: Even under the most ideal conditions for the Houthis, the USS Harry S. Truman remains an impenetrable fortress. Its overlapping layers of defense, from radar and electronic warfare to missiles and close-in guns, create a nearly perfect shield. But what constitutes this strength? We've just seen how the USS Harry S. Truman easily neutralized threats from Houthi drones, even in an ambitious hypothetical scenario. But what makes this aircraft carrier such an impenetrable fortress? And how does the newest generation of U.S. carriers, the Gerald R. Ford class, elevate naval power to a new level? Let's explore the unparalleled strength of these war machines, from their advanced technology to the seamless coordination of thousands of sailors, and why they remain a global symbol of deterrence. First, let's talk about the USS Harry S. Truman, one of the Nimitz-class aircraft carriers, the pride of the U.S. Navy. Displacing 100,000 tons and powered by nuclear energy, this ship is longer than 3 football fields, carries 90 aircraft, and can launch a fully loaded fighter jet every 25 seconds. It's not just a warship, but a floating city, home to over 5,000 sailors and aviators, carrying enough firepower to overwhelm the infrastructure of a small nation. According to U.S. Navy reports in April 2025, the Truman conducted over 200 airstrikes in the Red Sea since the beginning of the year, supporting the anti-Houthi campaign while maintaining security for international shipping lanes. The Truman's strength lies in its multi-layered defense system. The outer layer consists of escort ships like the USS Stout and USS Jason Dunham, equipped with the Aegis system and SM-2 missiles, detecting and neutralizing threats from hundreds of miles away. The inner layers include Sea Sparrow missiles, reacting instantly to close-in threats, and the Phalanx CIWS, firing a wall of bullets to destroy anything within range. Additionally, electronic warfare, with jamming and decoy systems, effectively blinds enemy drones or missiles. This coordination is like an orchestra, with each sailor playing an indispensable role, from radar technicians in the combat center to pilots on the flight deck. But the Truman isn't the only pinnacle of the U.S. Navy. Meet the Gerald R. Ford class, the new generation of aircraft carriers designed to dominate the digital battlefield of the 21st century. Compared to the Nimitz class, the Ford represents a leap in technology. The electromagnetic aircraft launch system, EMALS, replaces the old steam catapults, allowing for the launch of both heavy fighters like the F/A-18 Super Hornet and light drones with greater precision. The Advanced Arresting Gear, AEAG, system recovers aircraft faster, increasing the number of daily sorties by 33% compared to the Truman. This is particularly crucial in conflict zones like the Red Sea, where reaction speed is vital. The Ford class also excels in power generation. Its 2 nuclear reactors produce twice the electrical power of the Nimitz class, paving the way for future technologies like more powerful radars, advanced electronic warfare systems, and even directed energy weapons like lasers. According to Defense News, the USS Gerald R. Ford, the first ship of its class, completed integrated testing of a defensive laser system in March 2025, demonstrating the potential to counter drones and missiles at a much lower cost than traditional missiles. Furthermore, the Ford is designed with high levels of automation, requiring 600 fewer sailors than the Truman, saving costs and reducing risks in combat. In terms of survivability, the Ford class features improved armor, internal redundancies, and superior damage control capabilities. It is built to face modern threats, from drone swarms to hypersonic missiles. While the Nimitz class, launched starting in 1975, dominated the oceans during the Cold War, The Ford class is designed to lead in the digital age, where warfare occurs not only at sea, but also in cyberspace and the electronic spectrum. The USS Harry S. Truman, with its proven strength in the Red Sea, testifies to the U.S. Navy's overwhelming capabilities. But the Gerald R. Ford class sends a clear message. American naval power is constantly evolving. These ships not only protect shipping lanes, but are also symbols of deterrence, making any adversary think twice before acting. For years, Iran has supplied the Houthis with advanced military technologies, turning this rebel force into an extended arm in its strategy against the U.S. and Israel. The Samad-3 drones, with a range exceeding 1,000 miles, and the CASF-1 drones, designed for wide-area disruption, both bear Iran's fingerprints. According to a Reuters report in April 2025, U.S. officials discovered that Iran not only provided equipment, but also trained Houthis on assembling and operating these drones. These weapons, while no match for U.S. technology, are designed to create chaos, targeting commercial ships, U.S. warships, and Israeli interests in the Red Sea. But the Houthis' ambitions don't stop at harassment. Since late 2023, they have turned the Red Sea into a conflict zone, attacking dozens of cargo ships and even warships like the USS Carney. The attack on the USS Harry S. Truman in March 2025 marked a bold escalation, showing the Houthis no longer shy away from America's biggest targets. Geopolitical experts believe this is part of a larger Iranian plan to weaken U.S. and Israeli influence in the region, while also testing the U.S. Navy's response to asymmetric threats. The U.S., under President Donald Trump's leadership, responded forcefully. Starting March 15, 2025, U.S. airstrikes targeted Houthi radar installations, air defense systems, and weapons manufacturing plants. A notable example was the March 17th strike on a facility in Zabid, where Houthis had converted a cotton processing plant into a workshop for mines and explosives. According to the U.S. Department of Defense, these airstrikes significantly weakened the Houthis' offensive capabilities. However, the campaign was not without controversy. The Houthi-controlled Ministry of Health reported 61 civilian deaths and 139 injuries by the end of March, raising international concerns about the humanitarian impact of strikes in populated areas. Tensions escalated further when Iran refused to negotiate on its weapons-grade uranium enrichment program, leading to the collapse of nuclear talks with the U.S. in early 2025. According to an article in the Wall Street Journal, the International Atomic Energy Agency warned that Iran could soon produce material for a nuclear bomb. This poses a serious question. If Iran continues to back the Houthis and achieves nuclear weapons capability, could the conflict in the Middle East escalate into a larger war? The U.S. appears to have sent a clear signal through its airstrikes and the deployment of the USS Harry S. Truman. Any provocation will be met with a swift response. But is the current U.S. strategy sufficient to contain Iran and proxy forces like the Houthis? Some analysts argue that airstrikes, however precise, may not be enough to stop the Houthis, especially with continued Iranian support. According to Al Jazeera, local forces in Yemen are calling on the U.S. and Gulf nations to support a ground campaign to oust the Houthis, indicating the situation remains complex. If the U.S. continues to act without addressing the root cause, namely Iranian influence, the region could face a new humanitarian crisis, similar to what followed past wars in the Middle East. The confrontation between the U.S. and the Houthis is not just a military battle, but also a test for the regional order. Iran is using the Houthis to probe America's limits, while the U.S. is determined to maintain its superpower status. But as tensions rise and Iran's nuclear shadow looms larger, time to find a solution is running out. In the final part, we will summarize the U.S. Navy's strength, the lessons learned from the Houthi attacks, and the big question: can the U.S. prevent a larger conflict?
Israel uses combat lasers to shoot down missiles. Fact or media stunt? Amid escalating tensions, Israel is taking an unprecedented step by activating its laser weapon system to counter missile attacks from Hamas. This is not only the first time this type of technology has been deployed in actual combat, but it could also usher in a new era in global military defense. Is this laser system truly effective? Join Navy Power to follow the dramatic developments and uncover the truth behind the weapon of the future. Israeli war journalist Hallel Ben-Rosen wrote on the social media platform X, formerly known as Twitter, on Saturday, October 14th, that Israel is preparing much earlier than initially planned to deploy the first test of this laser system, which has the capability to intercept missiles fired at their country. On the following day, October 15th, videos emerged online purportedly showing the operation of Israel's new laser weapon, the Iron Beam, or Karen Bazel, in Hebrew. With its assistance, a missile from the Gaza Strip was intercepted. No one has ever witnessed this before, a perfect combination of light shield technology and steel cutting beam. A journalist from Israel's state TV channel KH11 also wrote about this after citing sources from Israeli security services. What makes this idea so incredibly captivating? First and foremost, it's the almost instantaneous speed. A laser beam can hit a target in the blink of an eye without the need for a complex targeting system. No guiding radar, no trajectory calculations needed. You just need to see the target to fire. Whether it's a highly maneuverable target, flying around, or constantly changing direction, locking onto the target is almost instinctive. Sounds like science fiction. But imagine you're playing a fireworks shooting game at an amusement park. You aim, you shoot, and the light hits the target instantly. Is this the turning point of modern warfare, or just a technological illusion being glorified? Secondly, the cost is significantly lower, with the estimated expense of firing a laser beam ranging from just $3 to $4, compared to the tens of thousands of dollars any anti-aircraft missile would incur. Some members of Navy Power even mentioned that this amount is cheaper than a cup of coffee at Black Fox Coffee in Manhattan. A primitive Qassam rocket fired by Arab insurgent forces into Israel costs only a few $100s to assemble, whereas a Tamir anti-aircraft missile from the Iron Dome system costs about $80,000. That's quite a significant contrast in costs, don't you think? What do you think about Israel's use of this laser system? Could this be a major advancement in their defense strategy? Please share your thoughts or ask questions in the comments below. Each missile launch costs Israel over $100,000, while their adversaries spend only about $20,000 to launch a missile. If the laser missile defense system is activated, this disparity will change significantly. Isn't it surprising that Israel has demonstrated superior capabilities with this advanced technology? However, is this enough for the upcoming tense situations? During the conflict between Israel and the Arab countries, there were times when enemy missiles bypassed the Iron Dome system and struck cities such as Ashdod, Ashkelon, and even David Ben-Gurion Airport near Tel Aviv. We know that even in previous attacks like the Black Belt campaign in November 2019, when rockets from Gaza were fired continuously, the Iron Dome was unable to intercept them all. At that time, only about 80% of the rockets were intercepted. What do you think would happen if this number decreased during a larger attack? The development of the Iron Dome system began in 2007 when Israeli Defense Minister Amir Peretz authorized Rafael Advanced Defense Systems to undertake the project with an initial budget of approximately $100 million. From 2011 to 2021, the United States contributed a total of $1.6 billion to the Iron Dome system, and an additional $1 billion was approved by the US Congress in 2022. The MOU between the United States and Israel includes an annual allocation of $500 million for missile defense, including the Iron Dome. Most recently, an aid package worth $8.7 billion approved in April 2024 included $5.2 billion for Israel's air and missile defense systems, including the Iron Dome. But are these investments truly worthwhile? In October 2023, Hamas launched more than 2,200 rockets into Israel. As a result, at least 5 people were killed. An Iron Dome launcher holds only 20 Tamir missiles. Once depleted, it takes several hours to reload. During this time, that defensive line became vulnerable to attacks. However, lasers have a significant advantage. They operate continuously as long as there is a power source. How can this power source be maintained under extreme conditions? The laser system can shoot down targets even when they are flying closer than 2.5 miles, a range where the Iron Dome struggles to intercept. However, the biggest drawback of lasers is that their operational capability is affected by weather conditions such as fog or dust. Have you ever wondered how Israel would respond to protect its territory under such conditions? Perhaps a fully integrated defense system is the optimal solution for the future. Discussion about Israel's Iron Beam weapon system highlights several noteworthy points. A significant advantage of the Iron Beam is its ability to destroy targets without the use of traditional ammunition. The country's Ministry of Defense has just allocated 2 billion shekels, equivalent to over $530 million to the Iron Beam laser weapon project. The announcement was made in October 2024, but what prompted them to act so urgently? Not stopping there, the United States has also joined in with a massive military aid package worth $8.7 billion that has been greenlit, with $5.2 billion specifically allocated to air defense systems, including cutting-edge laser technology. And the most noteworthy part, the US Congress has approved $1.2 billion solely for the Iron Beam. Is Iron Beam playing a key role in the new game? Can this laser technology truly change the entire landscape? Are you curious about the core technology of this weapon from the future? Iron Beam uses fiber laser technology. Fiber lasers operate based on the principle of stimulated emission to create a concentrated photon beam. In this type of laser, the active medium is an optical fiber doped with rare earth elements. Energy is pumped into the optical fiber, exciting the rare earth ions to a higher energy level. When these ions return to a lower energy level, they emit photons. These photons are amplified by passing them back and forth through an optical fiber between 2 Bragg mirrors or similar reflective structures, producing a powerful and highly coherent laser beam. The power output of 100 kilowatts, the Iron Beam is capable of neutralizing multiple aerial threats in just a few seconds. When a short-range rocket is launched, the system immediately locks onto the target and ignites the fuse, destroying the projectile in mid-air before it crosses the border. In another scenario, a medium-sized UAV is approaching the airspace, and the Iron Beam focuses hundreds of laser beams on the drone's body, burning out its electronic systems and causing it to fall freely from thousands of feet in the air. By the end of 2024, the Iron Beam system had successfully undergone tests, including intercepting drones, rockets, mortars, and anti-tank missiles. Several tests have been conducted at the White Sands missile range. The capability of the naval Iron Beam to counter swarms of drones and anti-ship missiles has also been demonstrated. According to current sources, the Iron Beam system is expected to be officially deployed by the end of 2025. Although there were plans to accelerate the timeline, those efforts have yet to materialize. Notably, during the 2023 conflict in Gaza, information emerged about the potential testing of the Iron Beam right on the southern battlefield, a clear sign that Israel is gradually moving closer to realizing an energy shield in the near future. However, like any new technology, the Iron Beam also faces significant challenges. The question is the Iron Beam the optimal solution for current threats? Unfortunately, the first limitation of the Iron Beam is its reduced effectiveness in unfavorable weather conditions. Additionally, its range is relatively short, reaching only about 6 miles in clear weather. When this system was first introduced to the public at an exhibition in 2014, it had a power output of only 67 horsepower and a range of 3 to 4.3 miles. The developers have continuously improved its power and performance, but are these efforts enough to meet real-world demands? With the increasing threats from Hezbollah's highly precise missiles and the war on the northern border in December 2018, the development of Iron Beam has accelerated significantly. Elad Mapo, the head of technology and weapons development, has managed this program with a total budget reaching several billion shekels, under $1 billion. Has anyone ever thought that this substantial cost would yield commensurate benefits? The Iron Beam laser weapon system is entering a strategic development phase with groundbreaking improvements. One of the key current objectives is to increase the system's power to 300 kilowatts by combining multiple laser beams. According to the current roadmap, capacity increase trials may be accelerated from the second half of 2025, after the basic version of the Iron Beam is officially deployed. Alongside this, the lessons learned from the field testing process, especially in the context of escalating tensions in Gaza in 2023, are being transformed into significant technological advancements. By 2026, the system is expected to be upgraded with smarter target tracking capabilities, integrating radar data, AI, and optical sensors. This will enhance interception efficiency, even against smaller targets such as suicide drones. A major current challenge is the performance of lasers in adverse weather conditions such as rain, dust, and fog, which can significantly reduce combat effectiveness. So, what is the solution to this problem? To address this issue, starting in 2026, Israel and its international partners, including Lockheed Martin, will conduct research to deploy the Iron Beam on airborne platforms, such as light transport aircraft or large UAVs. This aims to elevate the system above the lower atmosphere, where operational conditions are more favorable and coverage is broader. Alongside technical improvements, the Iron Beam is also gradually being deeply integrated into Israel's multi-layered defense network, which includes the Iron Dome, David's Sling, and Arrow. In the near future, starting from 2027, the Iron Beam could also be integrated with emerging defense technologies such as next-generation radars using artificial intelligence or automated combat coordination systems. This would create a directed energy shield capable of learning and adapting in real time. In April 2022, Rafael, a company renowned for its Iron Dome missile defense system, successfully tested the Iron Beam. Although there is no specific data on the technical characteristics of the laser system, it is estimated to have a power of around 100 kilowatts and a range of approximately 6 miles. Those interested in military technology might consider this a significant advancement. At the Asia 2023 exhibition in Singapore in early May, a model of the Iron Beam combat laser system was unveiled, featuring 2 versions: a wheeled vehicle-mounted model with a power output of up to 500 kilowatts and a ship-mounted model with a lower power output of up to 100 kilowatts. Some questions have been raised about how Israel could increase its capacity so quickly in just 1 year. Are technology enthusiasts excited about this? The video released by Rafael demonstrates successful tests of the ground-based version, where the laser successfully destroys drones and missile warheads. This raises the question of whether the 500 kilowatt power output can be sustained over time, and if the Iron Beam can become an indispensable part of the national defense strategy. Recently, Rafael and Lockheed Martin, 2 giants in the defense industry, officially joined forces in a historic agreement to develop a version of the Iron Beam specifically for the US military market. The goal of this collaboration is ambitious: to increase the system's capacity to 300 kilowatts and equip it with the ability to simultaneously engage multiple aerial targets. Key. Lockheed Martin's involvement not only underscores the global appeal of Iron Beam, but also demonstrates the growing confidence in the system's potential to protect nations against modern threats, such as rockets, UAVs, and short-range missiles. What do you think about this groundbreaking collaboration? Let the Navy power team know your thoughts in the comments section. Israel has risen to the forefront of the world in laser weapon development. While the United States is discussing a laser power of 300 kilowatts, very little information has been publicly disclosed about the achievements of Russia and China in this field. However, it is clear that no country has yet claimed to reach the power level of Ken Barzel, which is up to 500 kilowatts. The Ken Barzel system consists of 2 trucks equipped with laser units. A high-power solid-state laser is used, and they are equipped with radar stations for target detection. The command center is responsible for connecting and coordinating the entire system. According to the official plan, the Israeli military will deploy the Iron Beam in 2025. However, the cost of each shot is not as cheap as a cup of coffee. With careful calculations, the cost of the necessary equipment and depreciation will amount to $2,000, but it is still 50 times cheaper than a shot from the Tamir. The laser Iron Beam will operate alongside the Iron Dome as part of Israel's defense concept. The main purpose of this system is to neutralize targets at extremely short distances, including missiles, artillery shells, and mines, which are threats too small and fast for the Iron Dome to intercept in time. This raises the question: has Israel deployed the Ken Barzel in actual combat yet? Are you curious why the Iron Beam is hailed as the ultimate piece in Israel's Iron Shield, developed to complement the Arrow 2, Arrow 3, David's Sling, and Iron Dome? This system doesn't replace them, but rather elevates the entire multi-layered air defense network. If the Iron Dome handles short-range threats, David's Sling manages medium range, and the Arrow serves as a shield against long-range ballistic missiles, then the Iron Beam is the trump card for countering high-intensity attacks at close range with extremely fast speed and precision, and notably, it almost doesn't require any ammunition. According to many military experts, this integrated strategy not only upgrades defense capabilities, but also creates a flexible, comprehensive technological fortress where every threat is neutralized in an instant. Israeli journalist Itai Blumenthal reported that shortly after the controversial video surfaced, security sources did not confirm the use of the Iron Beam missile defense system. Then it was revealed that this video is from a video game. The laser operates in the ultraviolet range and is not as visible as the lasers in science fiction movies. Some other Israeli journalists responded that it was the result of the explosion of a Tamir anti-missile missile, where the explosion's light illuminated the trails of other missiles, causing a glare effect. What do you think about applying laser technology in defense? Could this be a groundbreaking advancement in military technology? Please share your thoughts in the comments section to let the Navy power team know. However, there has been no official denial from Israel regarding this matter. It is possible that the Iron Beam has been tested in real-world conditions, and references to computer games, optical effects, or other explanations may be ways to conceal the truth. But why would Israel need to conceal it unless the tests were unsuccessful? In the viral video, we see 2 dazzling beams of light, but there's no indication that the target was destroyed. So, what really happened? Why not disclose the failure? Simply put, there was no test conducted for the Iron Beam. It was all just a fabrication by the media. The biggest advantage of the Iron Beam is its nearly zero cost per shot. While an interceptor missile from the Iron Dome costs about $50,000, the Iron Beam only requires electricity and a few seconds to destroy a target. The system has the capability to fire almost indefinitely as long as it is supplied with power. The use of lasers also means the ability to react instantly, attacking at a speed of nearly 186,000 miles per second, faster than any weapon currently deployed. Moreover, the Iron Beam requires fewer personnel to operate, increasing automation and reducing risks in residential areas since it does not create secondary explosions. So, does this weapon have any weaknesses? Alongside its outstanding advantages, Iron Beam is not without its limitations. The first factor is weather conditions. Thick clouds, fog, rain, or smoke can all weaken the laser beam, significantly reducing its interception capability. Lasers also require dwell time on a target, meaning they need to be continuously focused for several seconds to burn through. This makes it challenging for the system to handle multiple high-speed targets simultaneously. The current range of the iron beam is also a limitation, as it only reaches about 4 to 7 miles, which is significantly lower than the Iron Dome at approximately 44 miles, or David's sling at over 62 miles. Furthermore, the possibility cannot be ruled out that the opposing side may develop countermeasures such as heat-resistant coatings or mass attack tactics to overwhelm the system. The Iron Dome air defense system is running low on power. Unlike artillery and missiles, laser weapons do not draw attention, which is actually an advantage. Imagine how the enemy would feel when, in absolute silence, their missiles explode one by one. This marvel is certainly not far off.
South China Sea is surging, not just with waves, but with the rising risk of military escalation. Imagine a tense scenario where a Chinese aircraft carrier group, escorted by a formidable fleet, advances into an area of US naval operations. In response, the United States deploys its forces, including cutting-edge warships, stealth submarines, and a highly skilled naval air force. The question arises, if the US Navy were forced to take immediate action, could it sink a Chinese aircraft carrier within minutes? This is not just a far-fetched hypothesis. It's a real strategic question that involves military calculations, technological capabilities, and the combat power of global superpowers. In this video, Navy Power will break down this high-stakes scenario, from the lethal weapons that could be deployed to the naval warfare tactics that have shaped modern maritime combat. If such a confrontation were to happen, how would the course of war change? The South China Sea isn't just a hotspot for territorial disputes. It's also a strategic choke point through which over 30% of global maritime trade passes. Gaining dominance in this region is a key objective for any major naval power. For the United States, safeguarding freedom of navigation has always been a cornerstone of its Indo-Pacific strategy. Meanwhile, China is aggressively asserting regional dominance, particularly with its controversial territorial claims under the so-called Nine-Dash Line. To bolster its naval capabilities, China has expanded its aircraft carrier fleet, including the Liaoning, an upgraded Soviet-era carrier, and the Fujian, equipped with an electromagnetic launch system that enhances aircraft speed and operational efficiency. However, despite their power, these carriers have significant vulnerabilities. They are limited in the number of aircraft they can carry, rely heavily on escort ships, and lack real combat experience in carrier-based operations, making them susceptible targets. Meanwhile, the US Navy holds a decisive edge with its Nimitz and Gerald R. Ford class aircraft carriers. Some even claim that the Gerald R. Ford class is invincible. Do you believe that? Let Navy Power know your thoughts. These carriers are not only larger and more powerful, but they can also deploy up to 70 advanced aircraft, including the F-35C Lightning II stealth fighters that any adversary would fear. The US Navy's defense network is also incredibly formidable, featuring Arleigh Burke class destroyers, Ticonderoga class cruisers, and Virginia class submarines, forming a multi-layered defense shield. This combination allows the US to detect and neutralize threats from great distances. In contrast, China's aircraft carriers lag in scale and combat effectiveness. These carriers face immense challenges when dealing with coordinated precision attacks from multiple domains, such as cruise missiles launched from submarines or unmanned aerial vehicles. If an actual conflict were to unfold, the US Navy's strategy would revolve around exploiting its asymmetric advantages. The stealth and maneuverability of its submarines, combined with the Tomahawk cruise missile's range of up to 1,500 miles, would enable the US to strike high-value enemy targets from afar, without direct exposure to danger. The Virginia, and Seawolf-class attack submarines, along with the Ohio-class guided missile submarines, CSGNs, could stealthily approach enemy territory undetected, thanks to advanced noise reduction technology, sonar, absorbing coatings, and deep diving capabilities. Once in position, they could unleash Tomahawk cruise missiles, precision, guided weapons with ranges between 1,000 and 1,550 miles, capable of terrain hugging flight to evade radar and near, pinpoint accuracy via GPS, INS, and ZMAC guidance systems. The Tomahawk can neutralize a wide range of targets, from military bases and command centers to air, defense systems, and even enemy aircraft carriers. The latest anti-ship variant, the Tomahawk Block 5A, Maritime Strike Tomahawk, can adjust its trajectory mid-flight and receive real-time targeting updates, posing a serious threat to enemy fleets. By leveraging long-range submarine-launched Tomahawk strikes, the US Navy can execute preemptive or widespread attacks while keeping its forces safe, maintaining naval dominance and ensuring superiority in modern military conflicts. China would face significant difficulties in countering these precision strikes, as it must also contend with resource limitations and operational constraints. The destruction of a Chinese aircraft carrier would not only be a military victory, but also a severe psychological blow. Such an event would expose the weaknesses of the Chinese Navy while reaffirming the US commitment to its allies and the enforcement of international maritime law. Let's imagine a hypothetical scenario. The US Navy, led by a Gerald R. Ford class aircraft carrier, is conducting a freedom of navigation operation in the South China Sea. Meanwhile, a Chinese carrier strike group centered around the Fujian, accompanied by destroyers and frigates, advances and threatens a direct confrontation with the US fleet. How would the US Navy respond in such a tense situation? Some argue that diplomatic measures should be prioritized over the immediate use of force. Do you agree? If yes, comment yes. If not, comment no. We will continue analyzing tactics and supporting technologies, such as the P-8 Poseidon patrol aircraft, satellites, and drones, to better understand how the US Navy can detect and counter threats from adversaries. All battlefield intelligence is relayed in real time to commanders, not only onboard ships, but also in land-based command centers, creating a dynamic and comprehensive operational picture. A critical component of this surveillance system is the P-8 Poseidon patrol aircraft. Equipped with advanced radar and sonar deployment capabilities, the Poseidon can monitor threats both on the water's surface and beneath the ocean. The P-8 Poseidon features the ANAPU I-10 high-resolution radar, capable of operating in all weather conditions, providing clear images of surface targets, including warships, surface submarines, and even suspicious civilian vessels. Additionally, its electro-optical and infrared sensors enable round-the-clock target tracking, while its electronic warfare suite can intercept, analyze, and jam enemy communications. With the ability to deploy and collect data from long-range sonobuoys, the Poseidon can detect even stealth submarines operating in deep waters. Its advanced sonar signal processing system helps analyze submarine movements, identify anomalies, and precisely locate targets. When necessary, the P-8 can carry and deploy Mk-54 torpedoes to engage enemy submarines. Combination of radar technology, advanced sonar systems, anti-submarine weaponry, and networked warfare capabilities makes the P-8 Poseidon one of the most effective maritime surveillance and defense assets today. This is not just a patrol aircraft, but a strategic weapon that plays a crucial role in securing superiority in modern naval warfare. The strength of the P-8 lies not only in its technology, but also in its ability to integrate and share information with other forces, forming a flexible and responsive surveillance network. Furthermore, unmanned aerial vehicles such as the MQ-4C Triton, with their high-altitude flight and extended operational endurance, ensure that no adversary movement goes undetected. The seamless integration between aerial and space-based assets underscores the US Navy's commitment to dominating the information battlefield. Meanwhile, the Chinese Carrier Strike Group begins launching sorties. J-15 fighter jets, armed with air-to-air and anti-ship missiles, roar off the deck of the Fujian. Although their mission is not direct engagement but reconnaissance and probing US fleet defenses, each maneuver adds to the mounting tension. However, this is precisely when the technological superiority of the US Navy comes into play. The Aegis combat system aboard Arleigh Burke class destroyers serves as the backbone of the fleet's air defense network. The Aegis system is an integrated combat weapons system installed on US Navy warships. At the heart of this system is the SPI-1 radar, an active electronically scanned array, AESA, radar capable of 360-degree scanning. It can simultaneously track hundreds of targets at distances of hundreds of miles, even under intense electronic warfare conditions. Accompanying it is a diverse arsenal, including SM-2 missiles designed to intercept aircraft and cruise missiles, SM-3 missiles specialized for intercepting ballistic missiles outside the atmosphere, and SM-6, a versatile weapon capable of neutralizing various threats, including enemy warships. Aegis doesn't just operate independently. It integrates with other combat systems such as satellites, A-2D Hawkeye early warning aircraft, allied warships, and the THAAD missile defense system, forming a comprehensive defense network. Thanks to its advanced command and control C2 system, Aegis can autonomously assess threats, select the appropriate weapons, and execute high-speed intercepts without direct human intervention. This powerful combat capability allows Aegis to not only protect US aircraft carrier strike groups, but also play a crucial role in global missile defense strategy, creating a robust shield against aerial and naval threats. Beneath the surface, Virginia-class submarines silently maneuver into strategic positions. Armed with Tomahawk cruise missiles and advanced sonar systems, they serve as a formidable deterrent, constantly tracking adversaries while maintaining absolute stealth. This combination of stealth and agility makes submarines an indispensable strategic weapon. In an escalated conflict, they can launch precise strikes, neutralizing critical targets within minutes. The US Navy's meticulous preparations reflect a carefully calculated strategy, an equilibrium between deterrence and restraint. While the primary objective is to avoid conflict, every US naval asset stands ready to act immediately should the situation escalate beyond mere displays of power into actual military engagement. This hypothetical scenario is not just an example of the sophistication of modern naval warfare, but also demonstrates how technology, strategy, and discipline converge to maintain control in high-risk environments. Destroying an aircraft carrier is one of the most challenging tasks in naval warfare, but the US Navy has developed specialized tactics, maximizing its technological edge and diverse assets to maintain superiority. The Virginia-class submarine is a key strategic element in this plan. Want to know why it's so vital? Let Navy Power explain. With exceptional stealth capabilities, these submarines carry Mk-48 ADCAP torpedoes, designed to destroy surface warships and can get dangerously close to enemy aircraft carriers undetected. The Mk-48 ADCAP Advanced Capability torpedo is the US Navy's lethal underwater weapon, specifically designed to eliminate enemy surface warships and submarines. This heavyweight torpedo is wire, guided and sonar, tracked, featuring both active and passive homing modes, allowing it to autonomously adjust its course for enhanced strike accuracy. The ADCAP is equipped with a high explosive warhead capable of inflicting severe damage, even on large aircraft carriers. With an optimized design for speed, operational depth, and countermeasure evasion, the Mk-48 ADCAP can penetrate enemy fleet defenses. Its ability to approach enemy aircraft carriers undetected results from a combination of stealth, advanced sonar systems such as spherical and flank array sonar, and the crew's expertise in submarine operations. When paired with the stealth capabilities of attack submarines like the Virginia class, the Mk-48 ADCAP becomes a strategic weapon capable of infiltrating enemy carrier groups without detection, posing a serious threat to opposing navies. Beyond submarines, the US Navy also possesses long-range missile systems such as the Tomahawk cruise missile and the AGM-158C anti-ship missile, both with ranges of hundreds of miles, enabling long-distance strikes without breaching enemy defensive perimeters. The El Rasoum missile is specifically designed to operate in electronic warfare environments using automated target identification to neutralize large warships, including aircraft carriers, even in the presence of advanced electronic countermeasures. Additionally, carrier-based fighter jets such as the FA-18 Super Hornet and F-35C Lightning II, equipped with precision-guided weapons, provide unmatched combat flexibility. Notably, the F-35C, with its stealth capabilities and sensor fusion technology, can penetrate enemy airspace undetected, disable air defense systems, and relay targeting data to other weapons. These aircraft form a coordinated strike force, attacking from multiple angles to dismantle the enemy fleet's defenses before they can react. With this strategy, the US Navy not only launches attacks, but also systematically weakens the enemy's defensive strength, paving the way for decisive follow-up strikes. However, neutralizing an enemy aircraft carrier isn't solely reliant on direct attacks. The US Navy's ability to achieve information superiority plays a crucial role in securing victory. By leveraging assets such as P-8 Poseidon patrol aircraft, satellites, and unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, the US Navy maintains real-time situational awareness, tracks enemy movements, and ensures highly coordinated strikes. This information dominance allows US forces to exploit enemy weaknesses, such as gaps in air defense systems or vulnerabilities in logistics, further amplifying the effectiveness of their attacks. Electronic warfare also plays a pivotal role in this strategy. The US Navy employs EA-18G Growler electronic warfare aircraft, which can jam enemy radar and communication systems. By disrupting the enemy's situational awareness, these aircraft degrade their ability to detect and defend against threats, giving the US Navy a decisive advantage in any confrontation. Another key element is the integration of surface warships, including Arleigh Burke class destroyers and Ticonderoga class cruisers equipped with the advanced Aegis combat system and SSS-6 missiles. The US Navy utilizes a multi-layered defense system to protect its fleet, incorporating Arleigh Burke, class destroyers, and Ticonderoga, class cruisers. These ships are equipped with the Aegis Combat System, an integrated combat system, and SM-6 missiles. The SM-6 is a multi-role missile capable of intercepting ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and aircraft, and can also strike surface targets. The Aegis Combat System is a key component of the U.S. Navy's defense capabilities, employing the SPE-1 phased array radar to detect and track threats from long distances and coordinate the launch of interceptor missiles. Arleigh Burke class destroyers with the Aegis system and modern weaponry are tasked with air defense and missile defense for the fleet. In addition, they can also deploy Tomahawk cruise missiles to conduct long-range strikes against land-based targets. The combination of Arleigh Burke class destroyers and Ticonderoga class cruisers creates a robust, multi-layered defense network, helping to protect the fleet against threats from the air, sea, and from enemy missiles. Furthermore, with their powerful arsenals, these ships also contribute to enhanced offensive capabilities, helping the U.S. Navy maintain its advantage in modern naval operations. The U.S. Navy's emphasis on multi-layered capabilities, integrating submarines, missiles, aircraft, and electronic warfare, ensures that even the most formidable carrier strike groups will face overwhelming challenges and can potentially be neutralized within minutes of engagement. This not only demonstrates the power of the U.S. Navy, but also its ability to operate seamlessly in complex and high-risk combat scenarios. While the above scenario is hypothetical, history has repeatedly shown the dangers of close military confrontations, particularly in disputed waters. In 2001, a U.S. EP-3 reconnaissance aircraft collided mid-air with a Chinese J-8 fighter over the South China Sea. The incident resulted in the death of the Chinese pilot and forced the U.S. aircraft to make an emergency landing on Hainan Island. This incident highlighted a critical reality. A single operational misstep could escalate into a full-blown geopolitical crisis. By 2018, tensions flared again during a freedom of navigation operation when the USS Decatur nearly collided with a Chinese destroyer in the South China Sea. Chinese warship executed a dangerously aggressive maneuver, closing to within just 45 yards of the U.S. vessel. An action U.S. officials condemned as unprofessional and unsafe. This incident once again underscored the dangers of military confrontations and gunboat diplomacy in strategic waterways. If you were an admiral commanding the U.S. fleet in this high-stakes scenario, what orders would you give? Comment below and share your bold decision. Both of these incidents demonstrate the importance of meticulous preparation and the U.S. Navy's role in maintaining control over potential flashpoints. The U.S. Navy's Rules of Engagement, ROE, provide clear guidelines for handling confrontations with foreign ships and aircraft, ensuring that responses are measured and proportionate while safeguarding U.S. interests. These protocols are reinforced through rigorous training, enhancing situational awareness and the ability of commanders and sailors to make precise decisions. Technological superiority is also a cornerstone of the U.S. Navy's ability to manage tense encounters. Advanced reconnaissance aircraft, like the P-8 Poseidon and State, of the ART radar systems on Arleigh Burke, class destroyers provide an unparalleled situational picture, allowing commanders to assess threats with precision. Likewise, advanced communication systems ensure seamless coordination between units, enabling rapid responses to emerging challenges. The use of escalation control strategies is another key factor. By leveraging non-lethal tools such as electronic jamming and acoustic deterrence, US forces can deter hostile actions without unnecessarily escalating conflicts. For instance, sonar operators can deploy decoys to disrupt enemy sensors, while bridge-to-bridge communication channels can be used to de-escalate tensions and clearly assert strategic intent. With all these technologies and tactics, do you think the US Navy can fully control the situation in the South China Sea? Share your thoughts in the comments. While technology and strategy are critical, incidents like these reflect a broader geopolitical struggle, especially in regions like the South China Sea, where every move can have far-reaching consequences. For China, these waters represent a core national interest, with increasing militarization and territorial claims driving frequent challenges to US operations. For the US, maintaining freedom of navigation and upholding international law are non-negotiable, reinforcing global maritime security norms in an increasingly volatile environment. In this context, readiness remains paramount, whether through the deployment of aerial, surface, or submarine assets. The US Navy's ability to maintain discipline, execute procedures, and respond decisively ensures that any potential provocation will be met with strength and resolve. These historical incidents, combined with the Navy's advanced capabilities, underscore America's preparedness to manage any escalation in contested waters swiftly and effectively. However, if the US Navy were forced to sink a Chinese aircraft carrier, the immediate consequences would be catastrophic, both militarily and diplomatically. Such an action could trigger a large-scale war, drawing both nations into a high-intensity military confrontation with profound global repercussions. Regional powers like Japan, South Korea, and Australia would face immense pressure to respond, while international allies such as NATO could also be drawn into the conflict, leading to rapid and severe escalation. Economically, the consequences would be swift and severe. The South China Sea, a critical maritime route for global trade, could turn into a war zone, causing unprecedented disruptions to supply chains dependent on these waters and impacting global markets. Energy shipments, manufacturing exports, and raw material transportation could grind to a halt, triggering widespread economic instability worldwide. Politically, such a confrontation would mark a turning point in US-China relations, cementing an era of open hostility. Diplomatic channels would struggle to contain the fallout, as both nations mobilize their military forces and attempt to justify their actions on the international stage. China would frame the US as an aggressor violating its sovereignty, while the US would argue self-defense and the protection of international norms. Allies on both sides would face difficult choices, with long-standing geopolitical alliances put to the test. Militarily, sinking a Chinese aircraft carrier would be a decisive move, demonstrating US naval supremacy. However, the ensuing conflict would require the US to rapidly deploy additional forces to the region. China could retaliate with missile strikes, cyber attacks, and the full force of its naval power. The US Navy would face a multi-domain conflict, confronting threats on the surface, underwater, and in the air, while simultaneously managing logistical challenges to sustain prolonged operations in a contested environment. Despite these possibilities, the US Navy's primary strategy remains deterrence, not provocation. The US presence in contested waters like the South China Sea serves as a clear signal of American strength and commitment to upholding international laws and freedom of navigation. Through joint exercises with allies, freedom of navigation operations, and continuous technological advancements, the US Navy aims to prevent escalations before they occur. Moreover, deterrence goes hand in hand with strategic diplomacy, ensuring open communication channels with Beijing to manage disputes, minimize risks, and prevent miscalculations. In summary, while the hypothetical scenario of sinking a Chinese aircraft carrier highlights the capabilities and resolve of the US Navy, it also underscores the catastrophic consequences of such an event. The Navy's ability to project power and maintain peace depends on its commitment to deterrence, readiness, and cooperation with allies, ensuring that this worst-case scenario remains just a hypothetical. As we have seen, the US Navy possesses the technology, training, and tactical expertise to neutralize threats like a Chinese aircraft carrier, if necessary. However, the ultimate goal is to prevent such scenarios from unfolding in the first place. The Pacific is vast, and the risks are ever present. As tensions simmer, the importance of vigilance, preparedness, and diplomacy cannot be overstated. The US Navy's mission is not just to win wars, but to preserve peace, demonstrate strength, and uphold stability.